In the low to mid 70s. Later on tonight, partly cloudy overnight lows, upper 40s to low 50s. We'll see the clouds increasing on Thursday. There's a chance of seeing a few showers or storms across the north. High temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Carco Auto Sales. Give them a call at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromcarco.com.
Learn more. Radio station.
KERX Paris Fort Smith from the Bushlight Studios. This is ESPN 95.3.
2-2. McLaughlin swings and grounds on the right side. The second baseman Bauk makes the play in the outfield, throws to first in time, and that's it. For just the second time, Arkansas loses at Dickey-Stevens Park. The Lipscomb Bisons win it 8-6.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Bushlight Studios.
40-year-old adolescents, felons, power drinkers, and trustees of modern chemistry.
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Were you going to have a party here tonight, son? I don't know what that was all about.
Streaming live from HitThatOne.com.
That seducer and spoiler must be stopped. He's extremely dangerous.
This is The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
You guys know I am a student of pop culture.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
The Morning Rush starts right now.
Yes, sir.
Well, that was a bummer last night, closing out your final midweek game of the season with the loss. And Arkansas at one point had it all tied up, 6-6 in the bottom of the eighth, and you had Caleb Cowley on second in the bottom of the ninth and just weren't able to bring him home, weren't able to convert in certain situations down the stretch, leading to an 8-6 loss in 11 innings in North Little Rock at Dickey-Stevens Park last night. Felt like the Georgia game, number one, where Arkansas kind of slowly got back into it. At one point was really close. You felt like they were going to win, and unfortunately came up short to the Bison from Nashville and Lipscomb.
Brought to you this morning by The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building your next fence. They're also needing to hire people to join their team. So if you're looking for a new opportunity, they have it with The Fence Man. If you got fence building or construction skills, call our buddy Sean at The Fence Man, 782-3936, or stop in and apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. I stayed up late and listening to Phil this whole way through, and just disappointing is not even the right word. You wonder why it went so flat. I mean, they come out last night, the Hogs take an early lead, and then it just never could stay on rhythm. And they went through a lot of arms. I didn't count it up how many pitchers they went through last night in 11 innings. But like you said, they tied it back up. Lipscomb really had a rough go of it there. Threw it to the backstop twice, threw it back to home plate, had an error there. Just couldn't take care of the baseball. I thought, all right, Arkansas's got their opening. They're going to escape. They found the trap door, only to not be able to, like you said, get ahead on the scoreboard. Then you knew this game wasn't going to last very long because you were going to run out of arms, going to run out of pitchers. The 11th inning, honestly, was the surprise that it went that late.
You had to pitch McLaughlin last night, who has been the majority DH for you. He's played some other things for you this season. But that's his third appearance for the Arkansas Razorbacks this year. That's how thin you were. Dave Van Horn talked about it after the game, that they weren't going to pitch certain weekend guys because they're getting ready for a much more important series, the Mississippi State Bulldogs, which will take them on Friday through Sunday in Starkville, even though that state is not what they've been the last few years. They're still a team that you should not overlook heading into this weekend. And just a reminder, you're 1.5 games back from LSU for the SEC West. I tend to think the Tigers, based on their schedule and Arkansas' schedule, are probably going to close out for the SEC West title, but you never know in SEC baseball.
Yep. So, a dud. They had a big crowd there last night. You could, if you saw any of the pictures, I mean, it was a full house. Mm-hmm. It was what they were expecting, and I don't know. What is it about Little Rock here lately? It just seems like it's ho-hum, it's lackluster. And I don't know if this team had a letdown because they were playing in Little Rock, but, man, it just doesn't seem. When's the last time something, you had a basketball game that Nick Smith gets re-injured in or whatever this past year at Simmons Bank? Baseball was disappointing last night. Football always seems to, have something go on around it. But, some of that's just opponent right now. But goodness, when's the last time things went great in the Rock?
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
consistently.
there was the second half of that basketball game was a lot of fun to watch in person, but you mentioned Nick. Nick did not show out like I know he wanted to, specifically in North Little Rock, and for Arkansas to drop a win, their second win in North Little Rock. It comes down to injuries. And, guys, I don't have any good news for you this morning about Dylan Carter. I say me. Here's Dave Van Horn on one of his other pitchers.
Yeah, it's not good. That's all I'm going to leave it at. It's not good.
That's pretty short, pretty to the point. You can take with that what you will, but that doesn't sound like a coach that's confident in getting Dylan Carter back anytime soon, and maybe even at all this season, which is a bummer because he was showing some promise at various points this year.
So let's back up. For those that don't know, Dylan Carter's had some ongoing soreness in his shoulder, in his throwing shoulder. They had an MRI done on Monday, and clearly he's relaying last night the results of that MRI that was done early this week. So whatever they saw in there, I don't want to draw any conclusions because I don't read MRIs. I don't know, but clearly whatever the doctor read, whatever the radiologist read on that thing was not the news they were looking for.
No, and again, it's been pitcher after pitcher. Not that Tavian Josenberger and Jared Wagner's injury haven't hurt your baseball club, but it feels like that the pitching staff is in a similar situation that the secondary was in football season, where guys just keep going down left and right, and you can't get them through even games or innings without someone getting hurt or whatever, which is, again, it stinks because let's go back to preseason. D1 baseball had you as not just the best pitching staff in the SEC, but in all of college baseball. They ranked you preseason as the best pitching staff in the country. And now you're sitting here. It's not a weak point. It's not a non-strength, but it's definitely not what you thought it was going to be this year based on the injuries that you've sustained preseason and during the course of the season.
I hear you. And, a lot of it is injuries, but, just looking at last night, and this has been a theme, and we come back to pitching, and is pitching a problem? Yeah, you gave up 8 runs last night on 8 hits. Arkansas had 2 errors to go along with that. But the line for Arkansas cannot be ignored either. And those runs they got, there in the 8th inning were, I don't want to say handed to you, but the mistakes made by Lipscomb on the wild pitch, pass ball, I'm sure just listening to Phil's description, ball went to the backstop. That scored 1. Throw back to the plate was an error. Scored another run there. Then they got another run in on an errant throw. But Arkansas had 6 runs. We just went through 3 of them there that were gift wrapped for you. 6 runs last night on 5 hits. 5 hits. And pitching's a problem, but there just seems to be games where you would think, Chuck can come in here and straighten me out in a minute, but 5 hits on Lipscomb, RPI 140, you said, going into last night? And we talk about pitching, but 6 runs on 5 hits isn't very good either. You get out hit last night again.
And you've got to be able to pick up the slack where you know that Arkansas is deficient in a certain area right now in pitching in midweeks just because you don't have the arms necessarily that you were expecting to have. So the hitting in those games. And it started out strong. I mean, Cole goes yard, 3-run shot, first inning. And you're like, all right, bottom of the first. He sends it deep. It's going to go well. This might be a blowout. Sure enough, Lipscomb gets through a couple different Arkansas pitchers and has a really strong 6th inning and ends up taking the Razorbacks at home in North Little Rock where there was nearly 10,000 fans in it.
It was home.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of people from Central,
on the moon.
South,
played on the moon, shouldn't matter.
Eastern Arkansas that made the trip to North Little Rock to Dickey Stevens Park, and unfortunately you disappointed them last night. Not the end of the world. Again, it's baseball. Yeah. We have to levy out our expectations differently than football, even differently to basketball to some extent, because there's 50-some-odd games. So I'm like you, though. The hits we can't overlook. We can talk about the pitching up and down for the next 3 hours, but hitting is a factor as well.
Yeah. So, all right, more to get to. Chuck going to join us here in just a bit. We'll break it all down. Big weekend coming up at Oaklawn. It's a big weekend for horse racing, period, as the Kentucky Derby is this weekend. Where are you watching it, and how are you going to wager on it? If you don't have the Oaklawn Anywhere app on your phone, now is the day. Today is the day to get that, and use promo code RUSH23, and they'll give you a $150 or up to a $150 sign-up bonus when you download it and get ready to go for this weekend. So you got to think about these things. It's Wednesday, got a few days. You really want to study the field when they get to all the post positions here in just a little bit later on. That way you can get all those exotics. And that's the fun thing about the Kentucky Derby. It's the trifectas, it's the supers, and you can bet all of the fun stuff there on the Oaklawn Anywhere app. Again, promo code RUSH23. They'll also have live racing Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It will be the final 3 days of live racing at Oaklawn for this year, and or at least until December. This meet, I should say. And the first post time each day is at 12:30 on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's OaklawnAnywhere.com and promo code RUSH23.
It is a What's Your Beef Wednesday edition of the Morning Rush. We will get into our beefs coming up in just a bit.
Just say, Alexa, play ESPN Arkansas.
ESPN Arkansas from TuneIn.
Hey, this is former Razorback Jake Beckett, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
It's the spring sale event at WT Equipment. Save up to $350 on Hustler Turf Raptor Series mowers and up to $750 on select Toro Zero Turn mowers. WT Equipment is one of the largest Hustler dealers in the country with a huge selection in stock. Buy what the pros buy, where the pros buy. Save big or get 0% for 48 months on participating equipment with approved credit. Whether you are upgrading your fleet or looking for the best cut on the cul-de-sac, don't miss the spring sale event at WT Equipment. For more information, visit your local WT dealer or online at WTpromos.com.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
What makes a meal magical? Maybe it's coming home to smiling faces and the aroma of the grill. Maybe magic is the moment you finally get the secret ingredient to Mom's signature mac and cheese. Who knows, magic might just be as simple as meeting up with a friend to share a number 2 with fries and extra ketchup. One thing's for certain, magic shouldn't be hard because it's everywhere. All it takes is mixing the right ingredients, good company, great food, and ice-cold Coca-Cola. And then, voila! You'll have a recipe for magic.
Tired of constant computer issues at work? And who knows what the real problem is? Is it the router? No, it's the hardware. Wait, they said it was the software. Call Hashtag Managed IT Services. Their multifaceted approach to IT support guarantees that everything is working at optimum performance. And Hashtag prevents the small problems from becoming big issues. Hashtag Managed IT Services in Van Buren. 479-802-4978. That's 479-802-4978. Hashtag technology without the headache.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
With over 40 years combined experience, the team at the law offices of Craig L. Cook understand the definition of work, real work, working for you. Whether you've been injured in an auto accident, on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help navigating bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook, with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
The Golf Nut has everything you need to make 2023 the best year ever. In stock now, Ping G430 woods and irons, along with tailor-made Stealth 2 woods. Schedule a fitting today. The new Titleist Pro V1s are here. Golf lessons are available. Call the shop and book a time, or just play a round of golf on one of the many courses like Pebble Beach or Bethpage Black. Stop by the Golf Nut today, 5121 Towson Avenue in Fort Smith. Your #1 golf shop since 1994.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment? Not having enough home time? Feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit PatriotTransport.com to apply. That's PatriotTransport.com.
Save hundreds of dollars on new and pre-owned Chevrolets right now at Road Chevrolet Van Buren. The recent severe weather brought hail to our vehicles, and that means savings for you. Take advantage of these savings now while they last, only at Road Chevrolet in Van Buren. Our loss is your gain. These units gotta go, so get to Road Chevrolet now for the best selection. See dealer for details about inventory and savings. Road Chevrolet in Van Buren and RoadChevy.com. Prices you'll love. People you can trust.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Woo pig suey, and it's fantastic when people call it. Now, if things aren't going well, sometimes they yell woo pig fooey, and that isn't real good. That's bad luck. Calling hogs, they go suey.
0-1 the count. Hogs at the corners. Pitches hit high in the air and deep to left. Back goes Jake Berg. He's going to watch it get out of here. Off the scoreboard.
All your favorite podcasts in one place. The Hit That Line Podcast Network. Just search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts.
So I'm a little fed up about something here on a Wednesday, and I know some of you are feeling the same way about something. It could have been something from the weekend, could have been the game last night, maybe it was something from work this week. Why don't you share it with us coming up at 877-377-6963.
You know, sometimes when you're frustrated and you're fed up, you just need to get off to your own space, in your own world, and camping can be the way to do that. Our friends at Wheels RV can put you there, and there are so many great places in our state to clear your head, to let go of those frustrations. We got the White River. We got the Ozark National Forest. We got the Ouachitas. There are hundreds of state parks and many national parks, you know, within close driving distance to where you're at right now. Let Wheels RV put you on the front row for all of it. They've got the best brands like Forest River, Grand Design, and now Brinkley RVs that you can enjoy camping in style. You know, camping doesn't have to be what it meant when you were a kid. I was a kid. Camping can be luxurious now with all the amenities and everything you enjoy, but still being in all the places you love as well. And every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty when you buy at Wheels. It's all at Wheels RV, again, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, and discover with Wheels RV. So what's bothering you, fella? What's bothering you today?
Our internet was out all of yesterday and this morning as well. And I actually enjoy every once in a while to just have the radio. Now, it's kind of a catch-22. I think all Arkansas football, basketball, and baseball should be broadcasted on television, not the what's the baseball broadcast that they use for Dallas when they go down to Arlington, the $30.
Oh, the Flow Sports?
Yeah, Flow
Flow Sports.
Not that. I'm talking about on SEC Network Plus, SEC Network, whatever the case. But it is cool when you solely have the radio. So because our internet was out and because where my house is, I have terrible connection for my phone, LTE, 5G, whatever it is. So I can't even listen to hitthatline.com. So I'm having to sit outside of my car, which is cool to a certain extent, but I'm sitting outside my car listening to the game. So that's frustrating. That's my beef. That even when you're supposed to be able to have access to the internet through your phone when your Wi-Fi goes out, I don't even have that. So I'm having to deal with that and figure that out. It is amazing to me how in certain pockets in decent-sized cities here in Arkansas, you still can't get quality phone service. It blows my mind.
Cell phone service.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or internet service.
It's not like you live in the boonies.
Our internet's not any good either. And we live in suburbia. I'm not living out in the woods. It makes no sense to me.
No, you're right. And during COVID, when they put in, fiber internet to every rural home, I said this at the time, they're going to have better internet in the country than we got in the city. I don't have fiber at my house. I go to the lake or the river. The river house, we got fiber to the door. I mean, I got, 200 megs or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. Faster internet there than I got in my own house. So,
Doesn't make any sense. Now, Benjamin Watson gets at us on YouTube this morning. You can always watch us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch as well. He's talking about how the Little Rock game is his beef this morning, and he's also saying that our fans shouldn't be booing the pitchers. You brought up the Little Rock. Again, I don't have an issue playing one game a year in Little Rock for basketball. I don't have an issue playing 1 game a year for baseball. What I said yesterday about football, I think that's up to the athletics director and the head coach. If they think it's in their best interest to play games, every home game in Fayetteville, then people in Central Arkansas, Eastern Arkansas, Southern Arkansas need to respect that, as much as it might be disappointing because they don't get that game at War Memorial. But that is his beef this morning.
Well, and I wonder, I wish they could just play a classic down there. There's a debate about whether or not you should play the in-state schools, maybe invite UCA. Some of the teams you're playing one-offs, and have a 2 or 3 day round robin deal. Maybe Arkansas only plays 2 of the 3 other schools, but you invite 3 other schools, and Arkansas would play Arkansas State and UCA or UALR, 2 of the 3, in maybe a 2-day classic. I think the issue is to have it at Dickey-Stevens early, and you would want that early in the year, right? You'd want that probably February or March and move on down the road. I think the problem is Dickey-Stevens probably doesn't have their field in a condition to play at that point, because in Fayetteville they overseed it with rye and they have the winter grasses so they can go through that. I don't know what they do. I would imagine it's a Bermuda-only turf, if you will, at Dickey-Stevens.
I know you've been vouching for that for quite some time. I don't know.
Oh, I'd love to. If you're going to play the in-state schools and you want to play in Little Rock, let's do it all at once. That's my thought. But you got to have a place to play that. Not, you think, well, just play to Dickey-Stevens. Well, I'm not sure. I would have to ask more questions. But I don't think you probably have a field ready in February or March to do that thing. You got to have weather to grow Bermuda grass, so get it ready to go.
Jimmy's beef this morning on YouTube is the amount of injuries that Arkansas has sustained in football, basketball, and baseball. Football, it was the secondary. Basketball, it was Nick Smith and Trevor Brazile. Baseball, it's really hit the pitching staff. If you missed last segment, Dave Van Horn not competent, and Dylan Carter and his return anytime soon. It's when he was asked about his recent MRI, he said it's not good. It was blunt, short to the point. It's not good.
I would say he will not be back this year.
Yeah, I would say that's a decent guess to have based on Dave's response yesterday in North Little Rock. So that's a worthy beef, Jimmy. And again, I wonder, and we got a lot of time between now and the end of postseason. Hopefully, hopefully they don't get bounced in the regional or anything like that. But I just wonder if they end up going shorter than expected, if their postseason expires quicker than a lot of you are hoping for, then how many of you are coming back to the pitching staff and what this team could have been if they were, and not just the pitching staff, it's Tavian Josenberger, it's Jared Wagner, it's Parker Rowland dealing with back issues. And I know injuries are part of sports, but my goodness gracious, this bug has been all across your campus in the 3 majors this past calendar year.
Yeah, and it generally has hit, if not your best player, one of your best players, Jalen Catalon. You mentioned Nick Smith, and just before the season even started, Jackson Wiggins. I don't know that Cody Frank had worked his way into that conversation, but Wiggins was the guy that everyone was counting on. I mean, Friday night starter conversation. So, it's just I don't know what's going on. We need to sacrifice a live chicken. I don't know what we need to do in the clubhouse.
I think in this case, it'd be.
I would be for the bucket of chicken if you wanted to bring that in this morning, but
in this case,
something's got to happen.
You sacrifice a hog, right? One of those baby hogs that they brought to Baum Walker this past weekend.
That's not what Jake Taylor figured out with the Cleveland Indians, but we need to do something. We got to work something out here.
I haven't watched Major League in a while. I need to watch that.
That is a required viewing. But hey, one of the, I just mentioned this. I don't know if it's my beef for the morning, but we can talk about pitching. We can talk about everything going on. But 6 runs on 5 hits. 5 hits. Harry Doyle would have something to say about 5 hits.
5 hits.
5 bleeping hit. You got to do better than that. We can talk about pitching, and it's an issue, but there's been consistently problems with getting the ball in play, and getting hits has been a problem as well. Brought to you by World of Wireless this morning. You can take your vacuum cleaner. Get that vacuum cleaner that's stopped up, not working efficiently anymore. You pick up the piece of paper, you look at it, you throw it back on the ground, you try to vacuum it up, and it won't come up. Maybe you need new belts, hoses, or maybe the thing just needs a complete, makeover, if you will, inside. Who do you take it to get your vacuum cleaner repaired? World of Wireless, part of the home services they provide. I was amazed walking into their showroom a couple of days ago. They've got dozens for sale, and they fix all kinds of vacuum cleaners, including installation repair of Central Vac systems as well for your home. So if you're building a new home, think about Central Vac with World of Wireless. 877 305-3474 is their number for World of Wireless.
Arkansas's home for the best sports talk.
Ty, fortunately, has saved the world and not yet procreated.
You're listening to The Morning Rush.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV.
Video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sacalé, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
Rockwell and Orwell are both known for their work from 1984. It's no conspiracy that somebody's watching me, because the terms and agreements that no one reads is the reason there's no privacy. Big Tech is tracking every move you make and is starting to control society and how you participate. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and Revelation 13 describes a mark for those who fall for this utopian dream. I'm Pastor E from Woodland. Read about it.
BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your basketball info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest player reports for this year's pro basketball playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters this season, as we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. Basketball, MLB, NHL hockey, right down to UFC and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games you can play right from your home. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BLEAV. BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts. When you stay overnight, you want the accommodations to feel comfortable and feel like home. Well, at Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels, you get exactly that. You can check out all their locations at bphotels.com. They have locations in Fayetteville, Bentonville, Little Rock, Jonesboro, Conway, El Dorado, Arkadelphia, North Little Rock, Bryant, Hot Springs, Ardmore, Oklahoma, and coming soon to Kansas City. bphotels.com. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels, looking forward to serving you in 2023.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yeah.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
740006. Able Roofing, the hometown roofers.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Y'all ready for this?
You're listening to The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
Look at the Razorbacks. in terms of the difference in playing at home and on the road. Nothing's guaranteed. Arkansas's got a sub-500 road record, and you look at some of the teams in our league, and they're better than that. Now, the good part is when you get to the postseason, unless you're in a super regional at somebody else's place, you're probably going to be playing at home. But Arkansas does need to improve their road record.
Dave Van Horn was pretty honest after the game about his team's performance. Really blunt, to the point. We're going to get Chuck in here in just a bit. Going to hear from Dave Van Horn, his thoughts on his team's performance last night in an 8-6 loss in extras.
Hey, the team in Modular Orange is a website design and development company, and Modular Orange is the tool that allows your business to have a custom website at an extremely affordable monthly price. How about $95 a month? I bet there's not a lot of thought or contemplation or committee meetings that have to be held about, can we afford $95 a month to have a great website? I bet you're spending more than that now and getting less. And our friends at Modular Orange can create this great-looking website for you with no upfront cost. It's going to work great. It's going to have the security you need. It includes hosting. And when you need updates, it's all included. So there's no hidden cost, no hidden fees. There's no upfront chunk of money you got to come up with. There's no design fee. They would design your website. They get it live. They start billing you $95 a month. Check out what I'm talking about at modularorange.com. You can see examples of their work. I've seen dozens myself. You'll be happy. I promise. I would keep telling you about it, but I didn't believe in it. Modularorange.com, or call Jordan and his team at 479-755-3043. That's modularorange.com.
Chuck, this is generally the part where I tell you, good morning and welcome you in, but I'm going to be honest. My knee hurts. I think I heard it last night. Baseball team lost.
Begging for some runs?
The internet went out. It's not a good morning on mine. Is it a good morning on your end?
Hang on here.
We have problems?
Now we don't.
Do we have issues?
We're always an issue, but go ahead. Say that again for me.
Well, I was going to say.
I think everybody but me and Ty heard what you said.
I've not had all the issues Ty has had this morning, but other than that, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, well, it was a rough night in Little Rock last night. I don't even know where to begin. You had 9 pitchers that Dave had to burn through last night, and then you only collected 5 hits last night. I know it's not what the 10,000 folks that were there were expecting last night.
Well, it was a tough night. I mean, Dave said it was one of their worst performances of the year, and I wouldn't argue with that. All you got to do is go inside the numbers at the end of a baseball game, and you can kind of figure out what happened. But, it starts with the 11 walks. Arkansas didn't advance runners, and, they lost an ugly ball game. It's not like Lipscomb played well, but they played well enough. When you look at Lipscomb's record, in the month of April they went 14-6, and their conference record coming in was 11-4, which means they'd been winning games. If you looked back at the games that they'd played in April, I mean, they'd won all their weekend series, and a lot of these losses to the good teams, a lot of them SEC teams, came earlier in the year. We kind of talked about this on Phil's show yesterday. So, I was a little concerned coming in that, they'd get a battle. And the thing that's frustrating is that, I realized by the end of the game they were out of guys. I understand all that. Couple of walks in the 11th, your 10th and 11th walks of the night. Those were the guys that scored, I guess, and that was the difference in the game. Mm-hmm. But you had some guys that were pitching in that ball game that have worked on the weekends. And you had guys that if they've not worked on the weekends, they pitched a lot of non-conference ball games this season. It's the walks. I mean, it's just the walks in the clutch situations. And, it's time to not do that anymore. So, we're not in March. So that was the disappointing part. Last night.
If you're going to walk 11 guys, then your hitters got a hit, and they struck out 12 times. So you couple 11 walks with 12 Razorback strikeouts at the plate, and you end up with the result we saw last night.
Well, strikeouts are much more part of the game than they once were. what I look at is, and I was looking at some of the numbers on Stat Broadcast this morning. Runners on third base with less than 2 out. Lipscomb's 5 for 7. Arkansas is 0 for 2. Now that is a result of advancement opportunities. And Arkansas did not advance the runners last night. Lipscomb came to the plate 28 times last night with the opportunity to advance a runner. They advanced him 15 times. Arkansas came to the plate 21 times with an opportunity to advance the runner. They advanced him 7. And that's what leads to guys on third base with less than 2 out. That's the game within the game. We look at strikeouts and home runs and things like that. And all that stuff's, it's all good to look at. But you got to go inside it a little more to really look at and figure out what happened. And you couple the obvious with the game within the game. You have what happened last night happen. And, look, it's not as big as Mississippi State. You go down there and play well this weekend, and this becomes a distant memory. But, it's a frustrating night because guys that have been in this situation before didn't come through for you. And you had 9,300 people there last night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a big deal to those folks down there. They sell every ticket the day they go on sale. They plan on this from the minute the game's announced. And I know I'm not saying that they're not going to come back, and I'm not saying every 8- and 9-year-old that went to the game last night didn't have a good time. I'm not suggesting that. But I'm saying that I know it meant a lot to them, and it would have been nice if Arkansas could have played a little bit better.
You mentioned frustration. You could hear it in Dave's voice last night.
Well, even if we'd have won the game, we didn't play good. We didn't play good at all. And really, any phase of the game, we didn't pitch good. We didn't field good. We did not drive in runs. Defensively, we kicked a couple balls, made a bad throw. Overall, it's probably one of our worst games of the year, honestly.
And guys, it started out strong. You're up 3-0 in the bottom of the first. And then the hitting you didn't get it really any timely hitting after that. And what was, you told me something you referenced earlier, is even the runs that they got in the 8th.
Yeah.
It was wild pitches and throwaways and errors.
Mm-hmm.
It was more on the Bisons than it was what Arkansas did.
Give Arkansas credit for putting the pressure.
Base running and stuff.
On Lipscomb. But yeah, those were, I don't want to say they were gift wrapped, but they had some help getting those 3 runs across the plate, no doubt.
Oh, absolutely. Lipscomb fell apart. There's just no other way to put it. But give them credit. They didn't let that ruin their night. They kept battling and ended up winning the ball game. And, if you're Lipscomb at the end of a night like that, it's, first off, you've beaten a top 10 team. But secondly, when it all went haywire right there at the end, they were able to pull it back together. I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill on this. This is a midweek ball game, and life's going to go on. But it was just a disappointing performance last night.
So that was the game last night. Other big kind of news, Chuck, that we got yesterday is Quincy McAdoo, who a lot of people expect to start this season or play significantly, was involved in a car wreck and an automobile accident. He was transported to Washington Regional Hospital, was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. We don't really have any more information other than that, but I know that has to be a scary situation for not just him and others that were involved, but his family and really the entire Arkansas coaching staff.
Well, when you're involved in an accident on I-49, and you think about the speeds that are involved when you're on the interstate, when you're involved in an accident on an interstate and you're alive when it's over, you're pretty fortunate. And non-life-threatening injuries, I don't know exactly the circumstances of all this. I just know that when you're involved in something like that and both parties come out of this as well off as they have, you're pretty fortunate.
Tommy, you and I were talking about the show. You drove exactly where the car wreck was, and you noticed kind of a few things that stood out.
I had to drive. I went to Northwest Arkansas yesterday from the River Valley, and I just paid a little more attention to that area going up and coming back. And if you're on the same track anytime soon, just watch and look. And I've seen pictures of this accident. We all happen to know one of the parties involved, and I've seen where it happened, and it was kind of open field, if you will, and no trees and no ravines. And you drive through that area, it's kind of hard to find the place where it happened because most of that area has trees in the median or those huge rocks, that they blasted through to put the roadway, the bedrock that was once there, deep drop-offs. It's an amazement to me that this happened. And like you said, Chuck, not just walked away because of the rates of speed, but just because of that terrain. It's amazing when you just drive there. And you just think about it driving up and down 49 either way. There's no good place to have a wreck. Most of those are very bad places if you leave the roadway. So very fortunate in that regard that a car didn't end up at the bottom of a ravine, wrapped around a tree, or up against a rock wall, if you will, because there's a lot of that on that stretch of road.
Yeah, I mean, again, everybody fortunate. Everybody fortunate.
So hopefully he's okay. That the thing he has on his side is youth.
Yeah.
And everybody leaves a car wreck sore and their neck stiff and their body hurts. And, even if he had some broken bones, he's got time for a lot of those to heal. We don't know what's going on with him, but the words non-life-threatening are certainly positive. So, he's got time on his side and he's got youth on his side to hopefully be ready for a football season, but I would imagine that's the last thing he's worried about at this moment.
Recovery is the thing, but that was the big football news that we've gotten this week. Also got the news yesterday that Marquise Gums has decommitted from Arkansas, which I kind of found interesting. He's taking an official visit to Cal this weekend, it looks like. I think that's the first transfer decommitment that you've had so far in the football class, but that was the other kind of big football story involving the Arkansas football program, guys.
I don't know what to think about this. I mean, I read the news like you, and I thought, well, what do I think about it? What's my opinion? Chuck, I just had a hard time coming up with why would this guy do it? We don't know him. We don't know the situation. So I have a hard time really reading tea leaves on this one.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about it. Commits are commits. That's what they are. They're commits. They're not signatures. Mm-hmm. So, we'll just have to see how it plays out, I guess.
The portal, as we've talked about this week, has closed in terms of entering. You can still transfer to, if you're in the portal currently, you can transfer to a program. More than 3,200 guys in football entered the transfer portal cycle. Gums right now is rated as the highest tight end prospect that has not found a home, so it'll be interesting to see where he lands again. He was at North Texas last year and don't know where he's going to go after DK. I mean, I guess he could technically recommit, but I don't know if that's far-fetched or if that's a possibility whatsoever.
One thing I do want to go back to right there is, and we're, the transfer portal's new. We became accustomed to this, and we are accustomed to this when it comes to the recruitment of high school kids. A commitment is a commitment. It is not a signature. When these kids are in the transfer portal, and they say they're going somewhere, it's just like a high school kid. Until you've signed on the dotted line, they're recruitable athletes. And don't think just because someone says, just like a high school kid, just because some guy says, hey, I'm going to transfer here, don't think the other guys are stopping recruiting him. They're working him just as hard as they did the day before. And right up until that thing's signed, sealed, and delivered, they're going to keep working him. So I think we need to keep that in mind, that when a portal guy says, I'm coming to you, it's like a high school kid saying it. It might be true, might not.
And what I read, and Tommy, you're talking about reads, what I read into this is that they're still, because of his decommitment, not to say they wouldn't pursue him, and again, I don't have the inside knowledge of being in those doors, but I still expect them to pursue a transfer tight end since they got this decommitment. That's just a guess on my part. I would think that because you got one that you like.
Well, logic would dictate that.
Yeah.
Logic would make you think that, yes.
So, like you said, the portal's closed for players to go into for football. The dates are a little different for basketball, so I want to make sure everyone listening to our conversation this morning, gets it that basketball.
I was going to say, you got to have you almost have to have a guide on this.
Well, we looked it up. Yeah, it's May 11th for basketball that the portal shuts down, but it's like Ty said, no one can go in, but that they can still take players from at this point in football. So those are, and then the other big date is kind of out there is May 31st for players that entered the NBA draft process to take their name out and return to college. So there's several things we got to pay attention to date-wise this month.
Well, I didn't write any of that down, so along the way you'll have to repeat
Ty
it,
will
I'm
remember
sure.
because he's got a young memory and he can remember all that
It
stuff.
sticks in my craw. And on the basketball side of things, the news that we spoke of yesterday is Ron Holland working out with Jordan Walsh. You can make with that what you will. And then the big college basketball news that hit the pipe yesterday was Grant Nelson out of North Dakota State has entered the transfer portal, and this is like the Arkansas fans' dream player. He's 6'11", can shoot it, can get to the rim, can play defense. And, again, I have no idea if Arkansas is pursuing it, but I got 10 texts yesterday asking if Eric Musselman and this staff had a shot at him. And I would love to see him in a Razorback unit. In fact, I'd rather, of the three guys we've talked about, between Holland, Dickinson, and Grant Nelson, the newest addition to the portal, I would take Nelson over those two if Arkansas had a clean shot at any of the three of them.
Well, we're just going to have to see how all these numbers shake out. I mean, we went through this last week, and I don't know. There's a lot of guys out there, and this guy's a good player, and there are lots of good players out there. I don't know how they whittle it all down, but I guarantee you their minds are racing. Just like lots of people's minds are racing about this now. So, as we've said before, this is not over by a long shot.
So, yeah, this is the interesting thing. It's almost like another season we get in the sports calendar.
Well,
now.
it is. I mean, this is the college version of the hot stove league.
Yeah, you brought that.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say you brought that up months ago, and I didn't think about that approach, Chuck. And then the more I've we've gotten ingratiated this, and I'm like, it's exactly like it is, and it makes it entertaining, as you've talked about.
Well, and the thing is, in college sports, unlike pro sports, there's no compensation when you lose a guy. You lose a guy to free agency in pro sports, you get a compensatory draft pick, you get something. In college sports, you get a thanks for the memory sometimes, and that's about it. Hey, if you're buying or selling a home, Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, really is the name. It's the only name that you need to know. I can tell you that from experience, and I can tell you that from observation with the way they've handled other clients and the way that my situation was handled. If you're a buyer, particularly if you're a first-time buyer, they understand the process. These are realtors that do this every day. They're the best trained in the business. And consequently, you're not going to be the first person they've dealt with that's buying a home for the very first time. They can get you from contract to close. And that's especially true if you're a seller. Because if you've sold a home, you know that getting a contract signed, getting the closing paper signed, those are different deals. Weichert's best. They're the best in the business at getting you from one to the other. That was my experience, and I think that'll be your experience too. Now, they've got an office in Fayetteville, Springdale, Bentonville, Fort Smith, Branson, and you can always log on to WeichertGriffin.com.
Last thing on this basketball stuff before we take Michael's call. I think what Arkansas fans really appreciate is the number one player in the transfer portal right now, Hunter Dickinson. You feel like you have a shot at him. The number one high school player available in Ron Holland. You feel like you have a shot at him. The latest and biggest and shiniest object in Grant Nelson. You feel like you have a shot at him. Now, you might not land a single one of them. You might land one or two of them. But you didn't feel that way for the last however many years. And I know the transfer portal hasn't been as prevalent, but high school basketball recruiting has been. And now you actually feel like you have a shot at top-tier talent because Muss has brought it in, and not only has he been able to bring guys in, but they produced. The majority of them has produced. That's the last thing I'll say on that.
Well, let me throw this in.
Okay.
Arkansas has recruited top-tier talent before. And I think that the attitude of the fans in the Richardson era is similar to the attitude of the fans now. When it comes to any player out there, why not us? I mean, why not us? I mean, we're as good as they are. We're right there standing at the end just like everybody else. Why not us? You may be the best player in the world, and most years, Duke and North Carolina and Kentucky would be 1, 2, and 3 in no particular order. But now with a straight face, you can say, hey, we can dance with those people.
Mm-hmm. No, and to your point, Chuck, you think about in the SEC where Kentucky has been the top dog in this league since basically the inception. You have outlasted previous 2 years, any SEC team making the Elite Eights, and last year you tied the other SEC team making the Sweet 16. So tournament resume, it speaks for itself.
All right, let's go to the call. What do we got?
Michael wants to ask about baseball. Michael, good morning.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, Michael.
My question was, we talk about Lipscomb and Arkansas, and baseball is kind of different, than basketball or, football especially. You don't play, just one game in baseball usually. So I think you may see teams like Lipscomb, UALR, they beat Arkansas, I think, 17-17 back in 2019. You're going to have some teams as good as Arkansas is, and we have been for, Dave Van Horn at CB builds, every year reloads. You're going to see teams with these one game, playing one game, just kind of chomping at the bit, wanting to take a shot at Arkansas. So do you think we're going to see, Arkansas State playing Arkansas anytime soon? Because in one game, they're
already playing in baseball.
They were supposed to have played. They got canceled this year.
Yeah, they got canceled this year. But they've been playing ASU in baseball, and I would guess they'll continue to.
And to Michael's point, it doesn't matter what Dave Van Horn says in the dugout or the locker room prior to that game. Lipscomb wants that game more.
Well,
you're playing an Arkansas baseball team that's a top 10 program this season. This is a shot that you have that they don't. They want it more.
Well, one of the things that I think you have to consider is where you are in the season. It's a battle right now for everybody to get to the postseason and get that shot in the arm. I'll draw an analogy to February basketball. You kind of hit that little lull there. You're waiting for the shot in the arm of March. You're battling through it. I think one of the reasons we're seeing some sweeps on the weekends right now is the reality is not every weekend are you going to be up for the battle. And if you're not, you can get swept out real fast. And I think that's happened some in our league the last couple of weekends. I think there's evidence to support that theory. I can tell you from traveling with teams for 23 years, when you hit May and you've got a midweek game and you're not at home, there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse. It's awful. You don't want to go. It's the last thing in the world you want to do. And you got to, and I'm just talking about from an adult standpoint. It's that way for the players even more so. Mm-hmm. You've just got to battle through this. Last night was disappointing. There may be some other disappointing games before you get to the end of the month and before you get to June. But you got to battle through that. There's a shot in the arm coming. But now, again, that doesn't make a disappointing performance last night okay. And it doesn't mean that, battling means losing. But I just think right now everybody's at that spot where they're waiting for the shot in the arm that's going to come here in 2 or 3 weeks. But right now, until you get there, man, you got to fight it.
Yeah. Since April 11th, Arkansas's played 5 midweek games, and they're 2-3 in those games.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that when you look back at, you lost one with Little Rock, you lost one to Missouri State on the 25th of April. You lose last night. You beat UCA, and then you won the other one with Little Rock as well. Those are games I think because of the stature of the program, you expect to go 5-0. But there's, clearly been a few games along the way, and Lipscomb's the final one, but there's been a couple of others that have been disappointing. I think Lipscomb and the emotion or the response or reaction this morning is also compounded by Missouri State last week and by Little Rock a month ago and or less than a month ago. I think, those are ones that still stick with you.
If you follow college baseball, this stuff happens.
Yeah.
And if you don't, though, if you're just a casual observer,
not supposed to happen to us. Just
it's like it's like what in the world? But
I know. It's just, I don't know. You play the name game a lot of times, and it sneaks up on you. But there's a lot of reasons why. Hey, do you have a loan with a variable or balloon interest rate? That could be a problem with the rising interest rates. In fact, the Fed's going to speak today on the future of interest rates. Everyone's bracing for another increase. Farm Credit can fix the problem with a fixed-rate loan for the life of your loan. In fact, they have the longest terms in the ag industry. And if rates come down, no problem. You can refinance with no new application, no new appraisal, and no new title work. They make it simple with Farm Credit. Find a Farm Credit office near you at myaglender.com. That's myaglender.com. Farm Credit is an equal housing lender.
The One Razorback Road Show begins on May the 15th. We'll talk about it next.
Hey, this is Chad Warner, product manager for Booyah Bait Company in Fort Smith, Arkansas. The hottest swim jig on the Arkansas River right now is the Booyah Mobster. It was designed by the Muddy Water Mob, a bunch of river rats from Arkansas and Oklahoma, and it's winning tournaments on Dardanelle and Kerr like clockwork. If you're fishing submerged vegetation, water willow, lily pads, you need a Booyah Mobster to reel them in. Available at lurenet.com and tackle stores throughout Arkansas and Oklahoma, the Booyah Mobster.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
The new Lotto game from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery is creating new traditions for our players, like Margaret from Conway.
I always play 2004, 20 and 4. That's Mr. Biscuit's adoption year. When we win, I'm going to give him the life he always dreamed of. Isn't that right, Mr. Biscuit?
Your numbers, your game. Play Lotto every Wednesday and Saturday for your chance to match 6 and get rich. Only $2 per play. Call or text 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Semaglutide is a weight loss game changer. That's what the medical community is saying about the latest FDA-approved weight loss medication. Vici Aesthetics and Wellness is offering a detailed program to all of Arkansas. In-office or telemedicine visits available to schedule your medical consultation and get started on the #1 prescription choice by medical providers for safe and effective weight loss while also reducing cardiovascular risk factors. Call or text 479-343-8424. 479-343-8424.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where we've got a great group of people ready to work hard to help you do whatever it is you're trying to do. Maybe you need to buy a car, sell a car, repair a car. Maybe you're just asking for a friend who has a question about a car. We're here to help. All the happiest customers are rolling with Rath. By the way, visit us on Facebook and check out this month's Winning and Grinning Give-A-Palooza. Who knows what you might win? Maybe a Meineke mile service contract or a prepaid maintenance plan or a set of tires. It's fun and it's free, and just one way we say thanks to all of our friends and family who support and promote our business. All the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center. 15 minutes from everywhere, just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Tired of constant computer issues at work? And who knows what the real problem is? Is it the router? No, it's the hardware. Wait, they said it was the software. Call Hashtag Managed IT Services. Their multifaceted approach to IT support guarantees that everything is working at optimum performance, and Hashtag prevents the small problems from becoming big issues. Hashtag Managed IT Services in Van Buren. 479-802-4978. That's 479-802-4978. Hashtag technology without the headache.
Pickup truck, sports car, motorcycle, minivan, townhouse, two-story, farmhouse, fixer-upper. What you drive and where you live is different for everyone, so it's important to have insurance that fits your needs and is just right for you. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that, which is why our agents help you design a comprehensive auto, home, and life insurance plan. Insurance that fits just right.
Call Jeff Clark in Fort Smith or Brad Howell in Van Buren.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
Peace of mind in buying a quality and well-maintained vehicle is top priority at Carco Auto Sales. Carco Auto Sales has been serving the River Valley and eastern Oklahoma for over 40 years and offers a variety of late model, low-mileage vehicles at unbeatable values. Come see the team at 2810 Midland Boulevard today or give them a call at 783-1722. You can check them out online at buyfromcarco.com. Carco Auto Sales. When you're ready.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, plenty of sunshine. Our high temperatures this afternoon in the low to mid 70s. Later on tonight, partly cloudy overnight lows, upper 40s to low 50s. We'll see the clouds increasing on Thursday. There's a chance of seeing a few showers of storms across the north. High temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Carco Auto Sales. Give them a call at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromcarco.com.
You're listening to The Morning Rush live from the Busch Light Studios on ESPN 95.3 KERX Paris Fort Smith. This hour of The Morning Rush is brought to you by Bud Light, brewed with the best barley, rice, water, and hops to be America's favorite light beer. Bud Light, please drink responsibly.
2-2. McLaughlin swings and grounds on the right side. The second baseman Bauk makes the play in the outfield, throws to first in time, and that's it. For just the second time, Arkansas loses at Dickey-Stevens Park. The Lipscomb Bisons win it 8-6.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
40-year-old adolescents, felons, power drinkers, and trustees of modern chemistry.
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Were you going to have a party here tonight, son? I don't know what that was all about.
Streaming live from
hitthatline.com.
That seducer and spoiler must be stopped. He's extremely dangerous.
This is The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
You guys know I am a student of pop culture.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
The Morning Rush starts right now.
Yes, sir.
Less than 2 weeks away from the One Razorback Roadshow. I want to talk about that coming up. You heard Phil's call from last night in North Little Rock and Dickey-Stevens, where Arkansas unfortunately fell 8-6 to the Lipscomb Bisons. Now, of course, that doesn't affect your SEC standing, where you're 1.5 games back from the LSU Tigers in the SEC West. Big series in Starkville this weekend. Hopefully they bounce back, but let's talk more positive stuff coming up with this One Razorback Roadshow.
Brought to you by Burton Pools and Spas this morning. Their 45th anniversary sale is going on right now at both locations, Fort Smith and in Springdale, with anniversary pricing on Doughboy Hydrosphere semi-in-ground pool packages. You can save up to $5,000 off. Doughboy above-ground pools and hot spring spas have low pricing during the sale. In fact, payments start as low as $80 a month. And there's great deals on in-ground pools with up to $7,000 off. And you can get construction going in the next 30 to 45 days and be swimming this summer. It's all at Burton Pools and Spas now through May the 8th. So just a few more days. Burton Pools and Spas, Springdale and in Fort Smith, and online at burtonpools.com.
Several stops amongst our listening area and then across the United States, across Arkansas, Harrison, Batesville, Wynne, West Memphis, Marianna, Little Rock, Hot Springs, and Russellville are some of the locations for the Razorback Roadshow upcoming in. Hunter Yurchek, Sam Pittman, Eric Musselman, others going to be along. Guys, I've been to a few of these. I don't know who gets more applause between some of these coaches, the athletics director, or when Z's in town. I'll tell you what, man, Z always gets people hyped up when at these Razorback clubs and the road shows as well.
And I'm glad you mentioned Razorback clubs because and nothing is wrong at all with these road shows, but and I'm not sure what the motivation or the movement is, but there is clearly a direction they're moving away from Razorback clubs. You see fewer of those meetings. You see fewer of the coaches appearing at the whatever county Razorback club or this area of the state Razorback club. And Chuck, I know you've been to hundreds and hundreds of Razorback club meetings. I hate the idea that the Razorback clubs are kind of being forced out and replaced with these. These are great events, and there's nothing wrong with these road shows. But the foundation and this fan base and a lot of things was built on the back of the generation that had these Razorback clubs and these gatherings, and the head coach would come and either play in their golf tournament. I understand the coaches have limited time and don't want to do everything, and the administration doesn't want to force them to do everything, but I just hate the idea that these road shows are going to have essentially replaced the Razorback club meetings that we saw so frequently around our state.
I'm not as connected. I'm going to be honest with you here. I'm not as connected to that as I once was. There was a time when I went to all of them, and there was a time when you basically had Razorback club season. Mm-hmm. I made many a plane trip with the coaches on these trips. I will tell you that it's not just here, and I've heard people say the same thing that you say. The thing that I will say is that this is more the norm than the exception. When you look around college athletics, particularly in our league, the one thing that I will say is that, for example, right now, this would normally be, I can tell you in my day, this would be club season. This would be, and this is one of the things that made spring difficult, was you do a baseball game on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then you'd have Razorback club meetings Monday and Wednesday, a game Tuesday, and another weekend series on Friday. And, man, it got tiresome. But you think about what they're doing now. What are we talking about virtually every day? The transfer portal. At the end of the football season, or the basketball, or the football season, I guess, spring practice, back in the day, the very first Monday night after the end of spring practice, you'd be at somebody's Razorback club, and the next night you'd be at somebody else's. You'd probably do 3 that week with a head coach. Can't do that now. If you're out doing Razorback clubs the week after the end of spring practice, you're losing players, or you're not bringing in players. So it is a different situation now in terms of the time demands on the coaches. It is much more – the transfer portal has made recruiting – it was an everyday job before, but you're in the 11th hour from a recruiting standpoint when you factor in the portal and the high school kids. You're in the 11th hour, so to speak, at times when before you were planning where you were going to take your kids on spring break. It's just a different deal now. So I hear you. And I understand the frustration. And whether people believe it or not, those were not as burdensome as you think. I can tell you from traveling with those coaches, they didn't hate them the way people think they do. It probably wasn't the first thing they wanted to do that day. But, I know that the coaches I worked with viewed it as part of the job, and they wanted to do it well. But what they're doing now, this time of year, today, is a whole lot different than what the requirements were for them today 10 years ago.
I can just tell you when Brett Bielema back in the day, or Mike Anderson, or anyone went to the Baxter County Razorback Club meeting or down to Fort Smith and Coach would speak and play, it was an event. I remember when Brett Bielema first showed up to one of their spring banquets. There was close to 1,000 people in the room because it's your chance to get a picture, shake hands with the coach, and he was there for a few hours. I think there's value in those moments, and
there is value.
And I think the university it falls on deaf ears a little bit. I understand the time constraints, and you're right with the portal, but there's value in those things going around the state a little more frequently.
There is value in that. There's no doubt about it. But by the same token, and I hear you, but it's kind of like playing a baseball game in Little Rock. Yeah, there's value in it, but when you look at the big picture, are there more important things out there? Yes, there are. I hear what you're saying. Look, I can remember, when you were talking about an event, Morrilton.
Yeah, there's nothing.
The way listen, they pick you up in a Winnebago. I mean, you're in a Winnebago at the airport, and it's all lit up like a Christmas tree. And you drive through town, and you got a police escort. People are stepping outside their businesses waving. I mean, it's unlike anything you've ever seen.
Like the Pope showed up.
And, I can tell you from flying to Dumas and flying to places that, they don't have a whole lot of runway activity on their airport. When the head coach flies in, every cop in town's out there. Every person who fancies himself a big wheel in town's out there. I do understand how all that works. I've seen it firsthand. I know it means everything to these people. But I also know this, that right now, the transfer portal and getting your roster set for next fall is the most important thing. And I hate to say that, but it just is.
Oh, you're right. That still doesn't mean I have to like all these other things.
I understand. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear all these people. I really do, because I was there, and I understand it better than most. But I'm telling you right now, the game has changed, and the requirements have changed, and that's just the reality of our situation now.
All right, May 15th, Harrison for lunch, Batesville for dinner. They'll also be in Wynn, West Memphis, Mariana, Little Rock, Hot Springs, and Russellville over the course of their one Razorback Roadshow.
And on these trips, when Hunter Yurichek's in town, whoever's in town, what do you want from your athletics department, your athletics director? We'll answer that coming up.
Arkansas's home for the best sports talk.
This is former Coach Houston Nutt, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, paper mouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
Rockwell and Orwell are both known for their work from 1984. It's no conspiracy that somebody's watching me, because the terms and agreements that no one reads is the reason there's no privacy. Big tech is tracking every move you make and is starting to control society and how you participate. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and Revelation 13 describes a mark for those who fall for this utopian dream. I'm Pastor Eve from Woodland. Read about it.
BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your basketball info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest player reports for this year's pro basketball playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters this season, as we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. Basketball, MLB, NHL hockey, right down to UFC and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games you can play right from your home. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BLEAV. BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts. When you stay overnight, you want the accommodations to feel comfortable and feel like home. Well, at Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels, you get exactly that. You can check out all their locations at bphotels.com. They have locations in Fayetteville, Bentonville, Little Rock, Jonesboro, Conway, El Dorado, Arkadelphia, North Little Rock, Bryant, Hot Springs, Ardmore, Oklahoma, and coming soon to Kansas City. BPHotels.com. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels. Looking forward to serving you in 2023.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Budweiser, Lager Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Celebrate Cinco de Mayo for 2 delicious days at Joe's Grill and Cantina in Fort Smith. Friday, May 5th and Saturday, May 6th. Enjoy $1 crispy tacos all day, margarita and beer specials, and live music both Friday and Saturday. Bring the whole family Saturday for face painting, bounce arounds, cornhole, photo booth, and a taco eating contest. It's a 2-day Cinco de Mayo celebration, May 5th and 6th at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. It's time for the Red River Dodge Morning Rush Daily Question. Red River Dodge in Heber Springs, Arkansas's #1 Ram dealer. Log on at redriverdodge.com.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for a recess.
I'd like an answer to the question, Judge.
The court will wait for an answer.
Talking about the One Razorback Road Show coming up less than 2 weeks from today, starts May the 15th. You're going to get an opportunity to talk with different members within Arkansas Athletics, some being Hunter Yurachek. And when it comes to Hunter Yurachek, he has to field a lot of different opinions, a lot of questions, a lot of different things. So the question this morning is, what do you want from him as a fan and the athletics department? We could talk about cheaper concession prices. We could talk about various things that you want to happen during the course, free events, whatever the case may be. And I get all that. But I would say my point of view on this is for him to keep listening like he did. If you remember when he first got here on campus in Fayetteville, he listened and he took in certain things. Nolan Richardson Court, Coca-Cola, some bigger than others, but I thought he did a really good job listening to that. And as athletics director, you have to balance the listening to the big people writing checks to just the common average Joe fan. But that would be my point. That would be my point of view, is for Hunter Yurachek to just keep listening to the fans. And when as a contingency want something, when it's pretty widespread, it's pretty well thought of, hey, we need to try and do this, then they try and follow through on that, because he seemed to follow through on a couple different things.
Well, you listen to the fans, you'll end up sitting with them. So you got to be careful about balancing.
It's a balance, no question.
But what you're saying, or what I think you're saying, and what I think, if I'm coming from that viewpoint of it, I just want to know I'm important. I want to know I'm being heard. Whether you do anything with it, you can wad it up and throw it away when you leave. But I want to feel like I'm important and I'm valued as a customer and a fan of the program. And that's one thing I think really hurt Jeff Long, is he had alienated wide swaths of the fan base because they couldn't write checks with extra commas and extra zeros. And I think that's important, that everybody feels important, some on different levels than others. But I think, guys, just more than anything, hey, I understand my place. I don't write the biggest checks. I can't afford the most this and that for donations. But I want to know what I can do is important to those that are getting it.
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt like acknowledgement was the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm. It's a great.
I can't really add anything to what Tommy said. I've always felt like that. The biggest thing that people want is acknowledgement.
Yeah. We think everything's in control of the AD, and some things are, like Coca-Cola. Really wasn't in his control as a campus-wide thing. Nolan Richardson Court probably wasn't totally in his control, but so much is handed to you from the league office. The big stuff coming up in late May is scheduling and 9 versus 8 conference games. And, really, I don't want to say they're reactionary, but a lot of the things that are the big things, are decided on a higher level, and then it's your job to administrate it.
Here's an example I would point to. So you as a fan over the years, at one point in time, felt like the SEC has screwed you over the course of a game, call, whatever the case may be. And Hunter has been outspoken. Yeah, and again, I don't want to get too much in the ref category, but Hunter has been outspoken on certain things and sent and showcase, say, we sent this to the league office, we did this to that, because he wants to win. And again, you can't listen to everything the fan base says, because I like how you just referenced it, then you'll be sitting with them. But you have to, when fans feel like they got hosed, they got screwed, it's not just a little faction, it's the entire fan base, like the Jalen Catalon ejection a couple years back. And he's like, what is this? Like, we've got to get an explanation for this. Fans appreciate that. Now, you didn't really get the outcome you wanted, but the fact that he went and put that effort into it to begin with, I think fans really appreciated that.
I'm sure they did. I mean, sometimes you want somebody to be as angry as you are, you know? And so, yeah, those are things that resonate with people. I think they're, frankly, are more important things for an athletic director to do, but I also think things like that do ingratiate you with the fan base. And I've said many times, I mean, Hunter wants to win. Hunter's a competitor. And Hunter, he reacts kind of like the rest of us do, good and bad. I mean, we've all seen the video clips. I mean, he's happy when we win, mad when we lose, kind of like everybody else.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think you both hit on it there. Hard to add much to that, but you got an AD that emotionally, I think, wears it on his sleeves like a fan does. And that raising the money is secondary, at least in his outward expressions,
that's the key
to winning. Private moments, cooler heads prevail, not in the emotional, being swept away by the emotions of a game, might be a little bit different. But you want to see the person in charge want to win as badly as you do as a fan, as bad as those coaches and players do. And at least that's the perception, is that he wants to win that bad.
Well, he is a competitor, but now I think it needs to be said that, Jeff Long wanted to win. Frank Broyles wanted to win. People handle that during the game in different ways. I can tell you as an athletic director, Coach Broyles was not the best game watcher.
Nope.
And, I can tell you that, I watched Jeff Long pace that box many, many, many times when games were in doubt. They all want to win. I mean, everybody wants to win. Some people just react differently, and, it's kind of like when you watch a coach on the sidelines. Everybody loves the coach that is animated on the sidelines. Sometimes that makes him great. Sometimes you can be just as great and not be animated at all. So I just think people handle it differently. But Hunter is very much a competitor. There's no doubt about that.
I just think that picture of him following the Western Kentucky loss where he's in the Razorback suit and he's looking as distraught as every Razorback fan after that 20, 30 point.
He should have been happy.
Drumming.
He knew he was going to fire Chad Morris at that point. He should have been happy.
Look, here's the thing. I mean, you hire good coaches and you win, you get credit for the sun coming up.
Yeah.
You hire bad coaches and you lose, you get blamed for the rain. I mean, that's just how it works. And your most important job is to hire and retain good coaches. Period. End of story. If you do that, everything else will fall into place. You'll get credit for things that it'll be amazing, the things you get credit for. And if you don't do that, it's going to be amazing the things you get blamed for. And, we can just look at our own history and figure that out.
All right, that's your Red River Dodge Morning Rush Daily Question. Red River Dodge is in Heber Springs. They are Arkansas's #1 Ram dealer. Log on at redriverdodge.com.
This hour of Chuck Barrett on the Morning Rush is presented by V's Barbershop with 2 locations in Rogers and Bentonville. Visit V's Barbershop online at vbarbershop.com or in person and see why V's is a cut above the rest.
I was telling Beef this morning, my knee feels like something gave out. Internet's not working at the house. Phone service doesn't work, so I couldn't listen to hitthatline.com, the baseball game last night. I was having to listen in the car. But should I have another beef about Alabama athletics? If you haven't heard the news, they're being, I guess, investigated by the NCAA. There's a report out there from ESPN talking about betting in Ohio was halted on Alabama baseball games following suspicious wagering activity. Now, there might be something to this, there might not, but the NCAA put out a statement that says they take sports wagering very seriously and they're committed to the protection of student-athlete well-being and the integrity of competition. Guys, Alabama athletics can't stay out of the headlines, and not the good headlines, the bad headlines. And I don't know if there's anything there, but should I beef with this?
This sense. I mean, wasn't this an 8-1 game, and then Alabama made a run to make it 8-6? I mean, nothing about the game indicates anything fishy was going on. I think it's almost an unfair headline. I hate to defend Alabama, but the article didn't give a lot of details as to why they thought it was suspicious activity, number one, but nothing about the game that you could tell from just reading about it, Chuck, indicated anything fishy was going on during the contest.
I read the story. I don't know what they're driving at, but I know that sports books don't halt betting for no reason at all. Mm-hmm. I do know that. And anyone who is familiar with sports gambling understands that you may game the system once or twice, but you're not going to do it for very long. And my point is that it's very closely watched. And obviously they saw something there that made them halt betting, which is not insignificant. Now, there was another team involved in that game too, so I don't know. I have no idea about this. I know that the NCAA and the sports books, I do believe they have a working relationship. I'll put it that way. I think that the sports books watch NCAA activity very, very closely, particularly when it involves student athletes. And I'm not naive. I believe it probably does. But I don't know the circumstances of this. But I do know that this is not insignificant because a sports book does not halt betting on a game for no reason at all.
If I said by 2025, we are going to have sufficient injury reports for college sports, is that an egregious take? Because of how betting is going to ramp up. Tommy, you gave the numbers during the NCAA tournament, which I think it was 30-plus on the Bet Saracen app, if I remember that right. But we are continuing to see more and more gambling. If I said that, is that an outrageous statement?
Well, no, I don't think it's outrageous, but I think that's a different issue. You're talking about injury reports, and we've talked about this, and I'm a believer that at some point in time you may see injury reports be required, particularly in football, the way you do in the NFL. This is a different deal. We're getting into the area of point shaving right here is what we're getting into. This is why you halt betting. Is there suspicious activity? I don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. But I do know that sports books don't halt betting for no reason at all. There was something significant enough there that made them halt people giving them their money. They're in the business of taking bets. So when they halt that, there's something significant.
But I don't understand all the technology involved. From what I've read, this occurred, but the wagering that was suspicious occurred at the Major League ballpark there, I believe in Cincinnati, and where you can do the in-game stuff. But I think it's interesting and worth noting that there wasn't an Ohio team involved in this.
Good point.
But all there needs to be is an Ohio bettor.
Correct. And, so was there information? My guess is there wasn't really much with the game. And, again, I don't know the insides of this, but something about the betting activity and the frequency of it or the specificity of it
absolutely
is exactly what tripped the trigger that, hey, someone's betting an unusual amount on such an odd in-game bet. And now they've hit it 8 times in a row. It's like stealing signs or something. They figured out they figured out what the signals are. They're doing something to gain an edge. It's something about what the betting that was going on in Ohio that made all of this happen.
The pit boss is walking behind Tommy at the blackjack table, Tuck, and he's a little suspicious on why he keeps winning hands and betting certain things on that. And
8 minutes to Wapner.
Here's the other thing I was thinking about, and I need to probably do some more research on this, but all my friends bet. Every single one of them. daily fantasy, college sports, in-game, NHL last night. They're betting in stuff on the Stars. There's going to be an incident within college athletics, and it's going to be big, where you have a team or a group of players that are well-known that bet on either their own game or something through a third party or whatever. And how the NCAA handles that is going to be interesting.
Well, I mean, we've seen in the NFL. I mean, you've seen suspensions handed out just in the last couple of weeks to players. One of them, the young man from Alabama that plays for the Lions, and there were others too. He
Jameson Williams.
He was the most prominent, but not the only one. So they're watching this stuff. They have to watch this stuff. The integrity of the game is at stake. Yeah. And I'm not saying this is rampant, and I'm not suggesting that all over America you've got players playing games that have bets riding on the games. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that when something like this happens, it is very significant.
Yeah, we got to know when we watch. And I don't think we're anywhere near this cliff or this edge.
No,
that
I don't
what we're
either.
watching is real. And Tim Donaghy operated undercover for years in the NBA, and no one really knew anything till the FBI, if you've watched the documentaries, they kind of just stumbled upon the evidence that led them to Tim Donaghy. There was nothing about the games that were going on that led them to believe anything fishy with a contest were happening. They just happened upon it through another investigation that didn't even involve the NBA. So, but we got to believe what we're watching is on the up and up. And I don't think anyone right now is looking at a college baseball game or any other game and saying, I don't know about what's going on out here. And but stories like this are worth paying attention to. Absolutely. And
I'm very naive about this stuff. I will admit. I am not from the generation that when I was growing up, if you wanted to place a bet on a game, you had to know a bookie, or you just made a bet with your buddies. Hey, I'll bet you $20, or I'll bet you $50 on this game. But there was no phone app. There was not the temptation.
I got a story on that. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say the University of Arkansas, there were several bookies on campus, like college kids, that would have $25,000 in their Venmo account. And because we didn't have Bet Saracen, we didn't have Oaklawn anywhere, we didn't have any of that stuff. And so you'd have kids that had these insane amounts of money that they would build up on campus, and they'd have 1,000 guys on their books at Arkansas.
Well, there have always been campus bookies. I mean, we've had campus bookies, and other places have had campus bookies. They've been there forever. And it's always something that you fear from a student-athlete perspective. It always is. There's always been the opportunity to bet, but now it's so easy. Now it's just so easy. And there have been point-shaving scandals before, and I'm not naive. There probably will be another one down the road. And, again, we don't know what happened here, but obviously something piqued their interest.
Is it bad that I want something that I hope there's malicious intent? Is it bad that I want there's something? And I guess it's the Alabama baseball program, which I don't give a rat's you-know-what about their baseball team. But, I mean, after everything that went down with the whole Darius Miles, Brandon Miller situation, is it bad that I'm kind of hoping something bad hits their their athletics department?
Well, I don't know that it's bad, but, I mean, I personally hope there's nothing to this. Yeah, but I suspect there's a little something to it, or they wouldn't have done what they did.
An investigation or something that would involve wagering, I think, cast a long shadow over a lot more than just Alabama. So I don't think it's good for anybody if that happens. So
I do know this, that if you want to retreat from all of this stuff, V's Barbershop might be a spot you should consider.
You can get a bet at the barbershop back in the day, I guarantee you.
Yeah. I was listening to Ty Spot the other day about V's, talking about the TVs, how you can, go in, get your hair cut. You just kind of escape the world for a little bit. You catch up. You can watch ESPN. You can watch the news, whatever you do, when you spend about 30, 40 minutes and you just kind of escape. And that's what they offer at V's Barbershop. And it's a nostalgic experience, too, like it was for all of us when we were younger and we'd go to the barbershop on a certain day, and it became a ritual. And that's what they're all about at V's Barbershop. They've got real hot leather, real leather chairs. And the services now are a whole lot more than they once were. And, you know, you can watch ESPN while all this is happening too, which makes it even better. So they've got 2 locations in Northwest Arkansas. They're on Southwest 14th Street in Bentonville, right off 71B. They're in the Pleasant Crossing Shopping Center in Rogers. They've got a couple of locations in Little Rock, and you can always log on to vbarbershop.com.
I want to take you back to 2009 in Rosenblatt, where Arkansas is playing Virginia in the College World Series elimination game. And Brett Eibner, who had not had a good postseason, really a good season hitting the ball at that point, does this.
Here's the 1-1. Swung on, skied into left. That ball's hit pretty well. It is gone. Brett Eibner's hit a home run and the ball game's tied. Brett Eibner has hit a home run and the ball game is tied. The Razorbacks down to their final out, and Eibner, for all his troubles this season, has just saved things.
Chuck, last night Brett announced on Instagram he's retiring after 13 seasons in the majors. They ended up winning that game 4-3 over Virginia. I had forgotten about that game until I went back and rewatched it, but I'm sure that brings you right back to 2009.
Best baseball game I saw in 23 years of doing that. That was the best game I ever saw. And I'm not saying it was the best played, but just the battle. I mean, just the battle. That was obviously, you know, a big blow, and that's kind of really when the battle began. You know, it was but it was improbable. Brett had really struggled that year. And, you know, there were times they just didn't play him. You know, the truth of the matter is. But that was as big a hit as Arkansas has had in a long time, and as good a game, again, as I ever saw. It's hard to imagine that, you know, Brett Eibner's been a professional ball player for 13 years. That makes me feel old, but that was a great moment. That was at the old ballpark.
Yeah.
And that was really special to be there. That was the second time I'd been. And first time Arkansas went in 04, they were 2-out and just kind of happy to be there. Went back in 09, and, you know, there was a sense of belonging then, and that game was a big part of it.
I just want to make sure I didn't misspoke. That wasn't Rosenblatt. That wasn't TD Ameritrade just yet. Okay, I just wanted to make sure on that.
I don't want to compare it to Kirk Gibson, but it was kind of a Kirk Gibson, like you said, improbable moment that the last thing you were expecting for all the troubles he'd had at the plate was for him to be the hero, and he was in that moment. I remember being in the park when that happened.
Yeah, it was just that was a great game, great moment. Arkansas turned a big double play in that game. Keuchel pitched in that game. There were a lot of good players on that field. James McCann. We had a lot of good players, and they did too. It was a great game.
That was a good world. Texas was at that World Series. Virginia. Yeah. I mean, that was a loaded. I mean, it always is, but that was a kind of an extra loaded headline name field that year.
I think if I remember right, LSU, who you lost to in that, you lost to in the second game, and then they eliminated you. They had who was one of the best two-sport athletes we've seen in college in recent years is not Chad Johnson, but Chad Jones. I think it was his name. Played safety/corner at LSU and played either in the outfield as well. That LSU team, that LSU team was just stacked that year.
They were good. That was, that was fun. That was a great season.
Oh, I thought that was a cool again. Brett Eibner, after 13 seasons, announces his retirement.
Yeah.
So, guys,
that's a good run right there.
Yeah, is the baseball team going to bounce back this week in Starkville? They'll, I guess, leave on Thursday for a 3-game series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I know that Mississippi State fired their pitching coach earlier this week, Chuck. I saw that, which I thought was interesting.
I saw that. I don't know anything about it other than they've struggled in that area. You don't see things like that happen in season in baseball very often, so that's a little bit unusual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just wondering, again, 2 years removed from a national championship, Ole Miss 1 year removed. It's kind of odd to see those guys, those teams at the very bottom of the barrel in the West, but that's just how the SEC is.
Yeah.
Well, I think it makes you appreciate teams that get there and stay there. You know, pick your sport. I'm not saying it's easy to get there. It's not. It's really, really hard. But staying there is even harder. And you look at what's happened with those two programs the last couple of years. They're not bad, but they are playing in a league that exposes your every weakness. And they're not going to be, they're not going to be there this year.
So it'll be fun. I know we'll enter that time of the year where baseball will be the only thing moving forward. We're also moving into that time of the year, and we're about a week away where we got to take care of Mom, a little over a week away. What are you going to do for Mother's Day? Well, the last thing Mom wants to do is have to cook or clean or really even lift a finger on her special day. So why not take her to Gaston's White River Resort for their great brunch? They'll have a wonderful buffet that you and the whole family can enjoy. Mom will not have to worry about a thing at Gaston's. So you can call right now at 870-431-5202. They're there now getting breakfast out to their guests and lunch and dinner as well, and make your reservation for your group. So that way, if you get in early, you can pick the time you want, make sure you get a great view, and every table has a great view of the White River, and you'll enjoy the wonderful food that they'll have prepared for Mother's Day. All right, again, 870-431-5202. Make reservations for the Mother's Day brunch buffet at Gaston's White River Resort. Gaston's, a first-class time every time.
Arkansas's home for the best sports talk.
You guys keep rocking. I love the show.
You're listening to The Morning Rush.
Home is everything. It's your sanctuary, your command center, your music room, and your art studio. It's where you eat family dinners and make lasting memories. When you use a Weichert agent to help you find your home, we'll help you find the space to make it yours. When you begin your search, know that a Weichert agent will be there with you every step of the way. Because at Weichert Realtors, we guide you home. To get started, call your local Weichert agent and look for our bright yellow signs all over town. At Weichert Realtors, we sell more because we do more. Each Weichert franchised office is independently owned and operated.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Hey, Wes.
Hey, it's for horses. Are my ears that long? Don't answer that.
What's the deal with our cheese?
The cheese is from Wisconsin.
Okay, so what? Ain't cheese just cheese?
Billy, I'm from Wisconsin.
Not to be rude, Wes, but who cares?
Wisconsin cows make for better cheese.
Aren't cows just cows? Don't they have cows out in California?
Wisconsin cows are better because of the ice.
Ain't there 4 ice in California?
Ice, not eyes.
The ice is the difference? Do cows skate or something? Do they play hockey too?
Oh, blessed Billy.
How does they put them their skates on them?
Jim's Razorback Pizza uses cheese from ice hockey playing cows from Wisconsin. Eat Jim's RazorbackPizza.com.
Tired of constant computer issues at work? And who knows what the real problem is? Is it the router? No, it's the hardware. Wait, they said it was the software. Call Hashtag Managed IT Services. Their multifaceted approach to IT support guarantees that everything is working at optimum performance, and Hashtag prevents the small problems from becoming big issues. Hashtag Managed IT Services in Van Buren, 479-802-4978. That's 479-802-4978. Hashtag Technology without the headache.
Do you need an attorney that you can actually speak with? You need Hickey & Hull Law Partners. The attorneys at Hickey & Hull understand the importance of client communication and are taking the time to meet you, respond to emails, and return calls. Every case is important, and they strive to give each one the time and attention it deserves. Call today, 479-434-2414, or visit them online at kevinhickeylaw.com. Hickey & Hull Law Partners. Things are about to get better.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment? Not having enough home time? Feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit PatriotTransport.com to apply. That's PatriotTransport.com.
Was your roof damaged
damaged by recent storms. Don't fall victim to out-of-town contractors and fly-by-night repairmen. Trust the local roofing professionals at Able Roofing. Call their local number, 474-0006, for a free roof inspection. Never trust something as important as the roofing system on your home to a storm chaser. Able Roofing, 474-0006, will work with your insurance company. Call now for your free roof inspection, 474-0006. Able Roofing, the hometown roofers.
Save hundreds of dollars on new and pre-owned Chevrolets right now at Road Chevrolet Van Buren. The recent severe weather brought hail to our vehicles, and that means savings for you. Take advantage of these savings now while they last, only at Road Chevrolet in Van Buren. Our loss is your gain. These units gotta go, so get to Road Chevrolet now for the best selection. See dealer for details about inventory and savings. Road Chevrolet in Van Buren and RoadChevy.com. Prices you'll love. People you can trust.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Arkansas football. It's the players running through the A. Hog hats. It's more than 70,000 fans calling Woo Pig Suey.
Oh, yes, sir.
Guys, I've got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
Arkansas Razorbacks in our championship! The Arkansas Razorbacks have completed the dream season!
This is your Hog Update on the Morning Rush. Brought to you by Mr. Sparky. Need a licensed electrician to service your home? For one of their local pros, call 888-8-SPARKY.
Arkansas announced the One Razorback Road Show beginning on May the 15th. Some of the locations include Harrison, Batesville, Wynne, Marianna, Little Rock, Hot Springs, Russellville. Guys, the coolest event, though, has to be in West Memphis, which is at the Mississippi Terrace at the Bass Pro Shop, the Pyramid.
Across the river, huh?
Yeah, so that's where they're having it for that. I still have not been in that. I didn't watch a basketball. You guys probably saw a basketball game there back in the day.
I never did get in there, but I've been into it since it's been Bass Pro.
What's it like?
Well, it's like a big Bass Pro. You can stay there. They got a hotel built into that. You can take the elevator all the way to the roof and get the view of the Mississippi River and kind of that part. I haven't done that, but they've got a restaurant there. It's a neat deal. It's worth doing if you're in Memphis. So I enjoy going over there.
Chuck, do you ever see a basketball game over there?
Well, I have not seen a game at the new arena. No, I was at the Pyramid a time or two.
Yeah, I'd be.
Now it's a Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah, I've been to the FedEx Forum for some concerts, but I've not been in there for a basketball game. So.
It's a bucket list thing for sure.
I've walked by it.
I've driven by it probably 50 times. I've just never actually been inside it, so I want to do that at some point in time. That's kind of football, basketball, baseball news in terms of, again, a lot of people are going to be there. Sam Pittman, Musselman, Hunter Yurchek, and others. Football news on the recruiting front. Marquise Gums decommitted from Arkansas, told that to 24/7 Sports yesterday. He is currently the best tight end available in the transfer portal, according to 24/7 Sports, taking official to Cal this weekend. Chuck, you were saying it earlier, these are still commits. They're not signees. They're commits.
Yeah, and, it's he's and others, I guess, too, are, exploring all their options, so to speak. We see this happen a lot with high school kids. And, yeah, I mean, until they sign, until they're actually in the fold, all they are is a verbal commit. So, there's a process to this, too. And some of it is similar to high school. Some of it's not. But, yeah, I mean, he players will say they're going somewhere and then change their minds.
I don't know if this is a Razorback in the future, but I do know I got a lot of texts yesterday from Arkansas fans asking about Grant Nelson, the latest big addition for basketball in the transfer portal out of North Dakota State. Eric Musselman had some positive things to say about him when they played the Razorbacks. I guess it would have been last year, and I know that's a guy that Arkansas fans would love to see at least take an official visit and maybe end up a Razorback. But at this point in time, don't know if there's any mutual interest. I just know a lot of Arkansas fans are interested in possibly him coming to Fayetteville.
Do you take official visits always in the transfer portal, though? I mean, a couple of guys, maybe all of them. I don't know how many of the portal guys that have committed to coming here actually came here on a visit. I don't know.
What
one or two of them, I don't think did.
what I picked up from Richard, and you probably got more insight on this than I did.
I don't know that I do.
It seems like the portal guys don't talk to recruiting analysts. They just kind of do it under the radar. Like when you're in high school, it's a little different. You want to kind of get that pub, but I mean, these guys are grown men. They're like, business. This is where I want to. This place. So I'm going to talk to this coach. Do this. Do that. It's just a different feel and a different vibe. It's much more. I think in-house is the proper way to describe it.
I'm sure part of that's true. It happens so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It happens so fast. You recruit a high school kid for 3 or 4 years. You recruit a transfer portal guy for 3 or 4 weeks. So, it's just a whole different ballgame in that regard. And I'm sure there is something to the fact that, these guys now, they've been through that recruiting process, so to speak, and all that comes with it. And, it does seem as though things are done a lot more secretively, I guess you would say, and with good reason.
All right, that's your Hog Update, and it is brought to you this morning by Mr. Sparky.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
And this was on Twitter, so Chuck, you probably didn't see it, but Ty, you did. I want to add, but while we're on portal, because I had good odds on that one. There was a picture of Darian Ford yesterday and a list of all the schools that I guess he's interested in the transfer portal. Now, what caught my attention in this photo that was tweeted out, and listen, not everything on Twitter is obviously real, but what was right in the middle of that and all those logos? An Arkansas Razorback. I'm confused here, Ty. Did you see this yesterday?
I have not seen it. Are you trying to get me to decipher what Darian's thinking?
But there is 40 logos on here, but one of those is a Razorback. And there were several people that asked that question in the comments yesterday. So I know I'm not the only one that thought, looking at that, and it was very prominent right in the middle of it. I don't think this was old. This has had a new date on it, but all right, help the old man out here and trying to figure out what this means.
Did he put it out? Because I just looked.
His uncle Mark put it out because I tried to find it on Darian's official account and struggled there. So where are several of us that saw this yesterday going wrong? Because that doesn't sound right.
It may have been the schools that offered him before.
Out of high school. I don't know. So I got it right here.
It is confusing.
I feel like this was him coming out of high school, like Christian said, what was maybe offered him. I feel like I've seen this picture before, but yeah.
And it's not on his official.
No,
it's
not.
One of his family members' accounts, but it did catch the attention of several people because I had one or two ask me, and then there's several comments on it. Just
you got Rice, Oklahoma State, A&M, Bama, TCU, Kansas. I know Kansas offered him out.
This isn't an old tweet. This was a new tweet.
My guess is his Uncle Mark pulled that picture from before he committed to Arkansas and just put it back up there to let people know these were all the interested parties coming out of high school in Darien. Maybe there'll be some pursued interest as well on this. That's my guess. I'm sorry.
But you could see how it'd be confusing to people scrolling through, and you see this, and you're like, what's going on here?
It's like you tell me, man.
He may go back to Arkansas? Is that what you're telling me? I mean, that's I think what some people are reading into this, and I don't think that's even an option.
Yeah, I'm getting older, man. I'm realizing that every day. I'm getting older.
Chuck, what did you think? I'm sure you saw it on Twitter, too.
I don't know what to make of your conversation, to be perfectly honest with you.
There's these things called tweets. And
I am familiar with the concept.
And they put pictures on there sometimes.
I am familiar with the concept. One thing that I will say about Darian is, maybe it was a reminder that this is a really highly sought after player. I don't know. I didn't see it, as I say.
No.
You guys weren't as helpful as I was hoping.
Chuck promised me his first tweet, if he ever does get Twitter, is going to be a picture of him and me. There's a binding contract that we have, and I'm just excited. Hopefully, my persuasion can eventually get him to get on Twitter. But I don't know. That's a long road ahead.
You've got your work cut out for you on that one.
That's a good way to.
You better get his login information. Is all I can say. If that's probably going to happen.
I don't want to get yelled at for creating a Twitter and then maybe tweeting.
You do know there's an account out there for you, right? Did you actually create that, or is that a?
There's been a few created for me. Look, I get Twitter. I understand it all. There's a time or two maybe I wish I was on it, but it's just not for me.
No, you don't.
It's not for me.
It's addicting. You're good to stay off it. You don't have to at this point. Your career, you don't have to.
But,
I do.
But let me tell you, back in the day when you were in your Ty's age or in your 30s, you'd have just gotten yourself fired if Twitter had been around. You'd have never made it to this point.
I delete old tweets.
You know,
most of I'm in survival mode now. I'd like to. I would like to maybe retire one day, scandal free.
Oh my gosh!
And so
you'd have never made it back then with Twitter.
You know, I mean, too many people do things on Twitter that get them fired, and I know my tendencies. You know, you've got to know your strengths and know your weaknesses, and I can be drawn into an argument. And my fear has always been that if I was drawn into an argument, I'd do something that'd get me fired.
Hey, we're brought to you by the Smithwick Original Suspending Rattling Rogue. You can probably tweet and find out about it, but hey, you can find it at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and your favorite tackle store. It's got that famous rolling action. You can take it to the White River or your favorite lake. It'll help you catch more fish because it suspends and stays in the strike zone longer. It's the Smithwick Original Suspending Rattling Rogue.
Brandon Allen just signed with the new NFL team. I'll tell you who next.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Hey, Hog fans, this is Robert.
And this is Matt, and we're with the Stadium Shop on Razorback.
Matt, it's almost summertime.
Yes, it is, Dad. Spring's here, and summer's not too far away.
So, Matt, you know what that means.
Baseball season.
Yep, you be right.
And Hog fans, we have everything you need to get ready for Razorback baseball.
From T-shirts to hats.
From stuff for the grill to lighted signs and decorations for your fan cave.
We even have those bases-loaded beer hats and them boppers.
Hey, Dad, what's a bopper?
You know, those springy things that have 2 beer cups on the top?
Oh, yeah, those things. I've seen them everywhere. Well, no matter what you need, we have you covered.
So, Hog fans, come by the Stadium Shop at 989 South Razorback Road in Fayetteville and call us at 479-STADIUM. That's 479-782-3486. And, Matt, as usual, I'm going to leave them WW face gram things up.
Our website, which is shoponrazorback.com. That's shoponrazorback.com.
Matt, this time of year reminds me of when your mom and I first started dating. Man,
Dad, wait, hang on. That's just too much.
Oh, okay.
Folks, it does not get more Razorback than us.
Go Hogs.
APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group has immediate openings in the Northwest Arkansas area. If you're a licensed CDL driver, heavy equipment operator, electrician, diesel mechanic, have paving or concrete labor experience, or experience in a quarry, apply today at jobs.crh.com. APAC offers top pay, a sign-on bonus, benefits including insurance, retirement, and profit sharing. Apply online today at jobs.crh.com. APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey there, Sue here from the paint store in Van Buren. Don't dread that painting project. Let us guide you through with stellar results. YouTube doesn't know what we know. Our Richards paint, Corona brushes, and Whiz tools make for a great finish. Stellar is your coupon code. The paint store in Van Buren, we have M&M certified grass-fed beef too. 1414 Fayetteville Road, Van Buren.
Mosquito Joe has been making outside fun again for Arkansans over 10 years now. People ask us all the time if we do any other type of pest control, like termites or household pests. The short answer is no, and here's why. Mosquito Joe is fully committed to being the best mosquito control service for your money, period. If you want bugs out of your house or a nice-looking lawn, call an exterminator or a landscaper. If you want expert mosquito control, call Mosquito Joe. Mention you heard us on ESPN Radio for a special discount. Visit arkansas.mosquitojoe.com.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where we've got a great group of people ready to work hard to help you do whatever it is you're trying to do. Maybe you need to buy a car, sell a car, repair a car. Maybe you're just asking for a friend who has a question about a car. We're here to help. All the happiest customers are rolling with Rath. By the way, visit us on Facebook and check out this month's Winning and Grinning Give-A-Palooza. Who knows what you might win? Maybe a Meineke mile service contract or a prepaid maintenance plan or a set of tires. It's fun and it's free, and just one way we say thanks to all of our friends and family who support and promote our business. All the happiest drivers are rolling with Wrath. Wrath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center. 15 minutes from everywhere, just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra. The perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Tired of constant computer issues at work? And who knows what the real problem is? Is it the router? No, it's the hardware. Wait, they said it was the software. Call Hashtag Managed IT Services. Their multifaceted approach to IT support guarantees that everything is working at optimum performance. And Hashtag prevents the small problems from becoming big issues. Hashtag Managed IT Services in Van Buren. 479-802-4978. That's 479-802-4978. Hashtag Technology without the headache.
I want barbecue that's sliced thick, smoked long, and so tender it melts in your mouth. Sides that will fill me up like a twice-baked potato, baked beans, hand-cut fries, okra, Texas toast. You know what I'm talking about? A restaurant where the whole family can go and get a great meal for a great price. Where the owner actually comes to your table to make sure everything tastes great. I'll tell you what I want. I want Jerry Neal's.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, plenty of sunshine. Our high temperatures this afternoon in the low to mid 70s. Later on tonight, partly cloudy overnight lows, upper 40s to low 50s. We'll see the clouds increasing on Thursday. There's a chance of seeing a few showers of storms across the north. High temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Carco Auto Sales. Give them a call at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromcarco.com.
KERX Paris Fort Smith.
Hey, we can't make you a morning person, but we can make your mornings.
ESPN 95.3. This hour of the Morning Rush is brought to you by Farm Credit. From farms to land, livestock, equipment, and more, Farm Credit finances it all. Learn more at myaglender.com.
2-2, McLaughlin swings and grounds on the right side. The second baseman Bauk makes the play in the outfield, throws to first in time, and that's it. For just the second time, Arkansas loses at Dickey-Stevens Park. The Lipscomb Bisons win it 8-6.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden. You're listening to the Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
40-year-old adolescents, felons, power drinkers, and trustees of modern chemistry.
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Were you going to have a party here tonight, son? I don't know what that was all about.
Streaming live from
hitthatline.com.
That seducer and spoiler must be stopped. He's extremely dangerous.
This is the Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
You guys know I am a student of pop culture.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
The Morning Rush starts right now.
Yes, sir.
After trailing 6-3, Arkansas made a run in North Little Rock last night. And much to the chagrin of all the fans in attendance, nearly 10,000 fans in attendance at Dickey-Stevens fell short in 11 innings. They lose 8-6 to the Lipscomb Bisons. We'll talk more baseball coming up, but Brandon Allen has a new home in the National Football League. I'll tell you where it is in just a sec.
Brought to you by APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group. They have immediate openings in Northwest Arkansas and North Central Arkansas as well with Marion County Paving. You have a CDL license. You're a heavy equipment operator, an electrician, a diesel mechanic. You've worked on crews that pave concrete, or you've been on asphalt crews as well. You got experience or labor experience in a quarry. They'd love for you to talk with them because they got jobs open right now for you to join their team. Go to jobs.crh.com. APAC offers top pay, a big sign-on bonus, benefits that include insurance, retirement, and profit sharing, and they're ready for you to go to work with them right now. So apply online. Again, that's jobs.crh.com. APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group and Marion County Paving are equal opportunity employers.
This hour of Chuck Barrett on the Morning Rush is presented by Mach 1 Financial. Mach 1 Financial Group, LLC is an SEC-registered investment advisor located in Bentonville, Arkansas. For full disclosures, visit mach1financial.com/disclosures.
According to Tom Pelissero, Brandon Allen is a San Francisco 49er. As of today, will be signing, trying to mentor that young quarterback room filled with Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, and others. Michael gets at us on YouTube. He hates the 49ers, but he wishes Brandon Allen nothing but success. There is a connection, of course. 2 Fayetteville Bulldogs, 2 Arkansas Razorbacks, Dre Greenlaw, and Brandon Allen look like they're going to be teammates. I think there was a gap year where they were not teammates in high school. I think Dre was an 8th grader when B.A. was a senior, if I have that timeline right. So they just missed each other.
Both got a Super Bowl connection, both obviously the Razorback connection. So, I know his dream, Chuck, is to be the starter, be the man somewhere, and hopefully this will be a path to that.
Well, Brandon Allen's built a very good professional football career. Not everybody's going to be an all-pro. Not everybody's going to be a starter. But you can still put together a very good professional athletic career, and Brandon has done that. And, you've got to find your niche, and that's what he's done. His niche is not as a franchise quarterback. But the fact that the guy keeps getting work, to put it in simple terms, the fact that he keeps getting work means that he has value. And we may not see it on Sunday afternoons when we watch the games, but obviously, Monday through Saturday, this guy is of great value, or teams wouldn't keep bringing him in. I don't know if he'll be the starter there or not. I doubt if they plan on that, very frankly. But he's done what a professional athlete has to do sometimes, and he's going to retire one day, and he's going to have a really good life in the aftermath of all this. And so I give him full credit. I'm happy for him. That's a great family. And, Brandon's as quality a young guy as you'll ever find. And so there's room for guys like that. I think we see through his career that there is value in being that type player and that type person.
You mentioned family there, and you also mentioned that young quarterback room with the 49ers. I just wonder, being the son of a coach, Bobby Allen, and being his dad and being raised around it and being at a field or a court all the time as a kid, that in large part is probably what they're hiring him for, is to kind of be another player coach. And I would imagine just the raising and the upbringing he had is probably what's helped him as much as anything stay on this path.
Well, it sure gave him a head start. I've got no doubt about that, and it's ingrained in him. It's part of his bloodstream, so to speak. Yeah. And I'm sure that, Brandon, when it comes to football knowledge, he's got more in his pinky than the three of us have in our bodies combined. This is a guy that clearly understands the game and clearly can break it down in a way that, again, teams see value in. They see benefit in their quarterback room. And I'm sure being the son of a coach has a lot to do with it. But I'll tell you this, there's very little in football Brandon Allen's not been through. Yeah. The good and the bad and everything in between.
It's one thing to know it. It's another thing to be able to communicate about it and teach it and share that knowledge. A lot of people.
If it was about being if it was about being a great player, every head coach would be an ex-all-pro.
That's exactly right.
That's just not how it works.
I had a chance to catch up with the Cincinnati radio host yesterday, Mo Edgar, and he was telling me the relationship that Brandon had with Joe, kind of like you're talking about, very good, helped him along, and we know what Bro has become in the National Football League. Brandon's, I think, on his 5th NFL roster: Jags, Broncos, Rams, Bengals, 49ers. I think I have that right. But you think about the different things he's gone through, played baseball in addition to football in high school. I think I have this right. I don't think he threw an interception senior year. I got told that by a couple teammates of his. Now, they didn't win the state championship, but I think he had like a 36-0 touchdown-interception ratio.
Here's the thing about Brandon, and this is what's kept him alive as a pro football player. He's a great teammate. Being a great teammate doesn't mean you have to be the best player on the field. Being a great teammate doesn't mean that you have to be the guy that everybody celebrates when the game's over. Everybody's got to find their role. As I said earlier, you got to find your niche. And Brandon's a great teammate, and that's why he's still working. That's why he's still putting that uniform on every day, and he hadn't had to get a real job yet. And if he sticks around long enough, he's never going to have to. Mm-hmm. So, I think in his career we see what that value can bring you.
He's going to get that retirement.
He's well past that. Yeah,
that's
he's way past
I know
that.
Tyler was close to getting it, but again, Brandon Allen now.
And you bring up Tyler. I mean, you think about Tyler, you think about Ryan, you think about Brandon, kind of the premier quarterbacks of that era, right? I'm not missing anyone.
Kelly.
He's had the longest, most fruitful NFL career, perhaps. I mean, when you look at the money today versus Mallett, and Mallett, had a good run with New England, and then with Houston, but really when you look at it, he's probably had the most successful career track while not starting a ton of games.
Well, I mean, you can argue that, yeah.
I mean, you could say he's been the best at that position as a pro in a long time since.
Well, he's going to end up with the longest career, no doubt about that.
Yeah, so good news. Again, Brandon Allen, as of this morning, it looks like, according to Tom Pelissero, is a San Francisco 49er. So I'm happy to see him out there. We'll see what happens with Purdy, Lance, and some of those other guys he gets a chance to mentor. Guys, we hadn't mentioned softball this morning. We mentioned it a couple times yesterday. Corny Difel and company get their first ever top 3 win over an opponent. It was fun to see that in Bogle Park. They had their highest rated weekend. Nearly 10,000 people were inside of Bogle. Chuck, you sent me this. Ethan Westerman of Whole Hog Sports had this stat that the game over the course of the weekend drew over 200,000 viewers, which was higher than any college baseball game this last week. So
that was Monday night's game on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
On
Network, right?
Yeah, that was the game, and I think softball's got a lot of things going for it in terms of television viewership. I think it's been really successful on the SEC network. It is visually appealing, and by that I mean the fans are right on top of the field. When they pan the crowd, you see the faces of the people who are there, and you look for people you recognize. And I was, and I know this sounds maybe silly to some, but from a visual perspective, it's very important. The colors, the way the teams looked, the orange, the red, the fans in the stands, the contrasts. It's visually appealing on television, and it's a competitive game, and it's a fast game, and I think that that's a big part of it as well. It's something that translates well into television, and I think that's why the numbers have gone up exponentially. I don't think it's necessarily that it's the same game it was maybe 5 years ago. Maybe it's not. I haven't watched it long enough to know. But I know that right now they are finding their spot, and people are paying attention.
Yeah, and you mentioned the speed of the game. I think the timeliness of each event being about 2 hours. Sometimes it's not even quite 2 hours. The other night was just short of that in game time. We all have short attention spans these days. We all got these phones, and we all got a million things going on. And I think the fact that you can sit down with an event like softball and a team you want to follow, and you enjoy it, and it's less than 2 hours. I think it's one thing that makes soccer more appealing to a younger generation. I think softball's that. Also, how many guys and gals played softball at some level? Church league, beer league, in high school now for some young ladies that are getting to their 20s and 30s. More people have a connection to the sport of softball at some level than I think than we realize. So I think the timeliness of it and the fact that you can sit down and, hey, I got 2 hours here, I'm not going to be here all night, is appealing to a lot of people. And, hey, I remember when I played third base over at Ben Guerin, everybody feels like they got a connection to the sport.
Well, that's a lot different game than playing church league softball.
But that's the guy that's sitting in his easy chair. That's how he's thinking, though.
I just think it's a game that the SEC network has really showcased. Their need for programming has showcased softball, and I think people do find it visually appealing. I think, and the game is, and you talked about the timeliness of it. I do think it's played at a pace that is viewer friendly, lifestyle friendly.
There you go.
So to speak. And but I think softball as a sport, Arkansas in particular, has benefited a lot from the SEC network and the exposure that they've gotten. But now let me say this. We spend money in our league on softball. Most leagues don't. Our softball programs have big recruiting budgets, big parks. They recruit nationally, and they have a huge advantage in that area. The SEC dominates in softball, and they should. Now, the Pac-12, they should do well in softball too, and they do. And you've got some of your programs that are traditional in the middle part of the country, like Oklahoma. But it's generally your schools like baseball in the Sun Belt that do the best because it's conducive to the sport. And Arkansas has committed financially in a major way to softball over the last 10 years. It's why Courtney Deifel's here. It's why that ballpark's there. It's why people flock to it now. And you combine that with the SEC network and the exposure that the sport has gotten and the personal connection that you're talking about. I just think it all has come together. And the fact that the SEC teams are good. They're good. This is the best of the best, just like it is in everything else in our league. And so, and I've always thought this too, that, and in our case, it's the Razorback on the logo. You trot that Razorback out there, and if they're good, people will come.
If
Same
they can
way in every other SEC spot.
If they can open the door and break through the next ceiling and get to Oklahoma City, I think you'll see a growth and an explosion in the interest of softball, much the way we did in 2004 when Dave took his first team back to Omaha. We saw it become a little more statewide. I think
we're already seeing that. I think that's already happened.
But I think you're going to see it next level.
Level. But see, here's the thing. In 2004, you didn't fill that ballpark up before 2004. You didn't fill it up. I was there. You didn't fill it up.
Now, there's a difference in the size of these
ballparks. Hang on a minute. Let me finish. You're already filling up Bogle Park. You're already maxing out your facility, and you've not been to the Women's College World Series yet. So I think they've already hit that level. Now, I agree with you. It's going to magnify when they go there. I'm in full agreement there. They may have to do more with that ballpark. But I think that, again, I mean, Bogle Park's already been full.
Yeah, well, you're going down the line. I was thinking because what happened following 2004, and as they got back into the expansion, more suites, more seats down the third and first base line, and the ballpark today at Baum Walker looks nothing like it did. When they first built it, and certainly 2004 and the seasons that followed. But I don't know how much you can do. That the configurations of a softball park are just much smaller, and it's a different scale.
They'll find a way,
but they'll maximize out the space they got, and that is there enough interest to do that? I believe there will be once you get to that next level.
You mentioned,
well, I think you got to have players from in-state too, and they're doing that. What's happening, I think, in softball is what we saw happen in baseball. Is that the sport is elevated by the success of the Razorbacks. The sport is elevated in the high schools, and just the general attention that it gets. Is elevated, and it becomes part of a young girl's psyche, at in the 7th or 8th grade, like it does and like it has with a lot of the young men over the years. So I think it's great, and I'm one of those who watches the games, and I look for people that I know in the stands, and I see a lot of them, which tells me that the interest is growing, and so. Good for them, and that was a great win for them on Monday night. Best part of all that was that they won the game. Hey, let me talk just for a second about the Market Moment podcast from Mach 1 Financial. If you've not listened to it, it's pretty good. If you're one of those who pays attention to your money and you want to know what the market's doing, these are the guys to go to. Now, lately, what they've been talking about is the effect of the pandemic and all the things that have happened in terms of our economy since the pandemic, like the price of homes, for example. These are local financial experts from right here in Northwest Arkansas, and they break it down in podcast form, and they make it a lot easier for guys like me to understand. And I think that's going to be what you take out of it as well. Now, you can check out the latest episode of the Market Moment podcast by heading to mach1fg.com. That's the letters MACH, the number 1, FG.com. You can find out more about it. Mach 1 Financial Group, LLC is an SEC-registered investment advisor. They're located in Rogers. For full disclosures, visit mach1financial.com/disclosures.
Back to what happened in North Little Rock last night. The Bisons really almost choked it away in the 8th inning.
Here it comes. Throws to the backstop again. Here comes Holt. We got a tie game.
So it's 6-6 in the 8th inning, and Arkansas leaves the guy on in Caleb Cowie in the 9th inning on second and goes to extras. You lose in 11. I know Dave Van Horn talking about the injuries. Latest on Dylan Carter is this.
Yeah, it's not good. That's all I'm going to leave it at. It's not good.
Guys, you think about where the pitching staff was last night. What'd you say? They used 9 guys last night on the mound?
9 different arms.
Lipscomb used a lot of guys as well. And I mean, again, you're down 6-3, only 2 innings left, and you still almost get it done. But unfortunately, another midweek game goes awry last couple weeks.
Man, they haven't had the best of success, and certainly not what you were thinking when you scheduled these midweek games. 2-3 since April the 11th, and the 5 games they played in midweek games. They had a lot better success back to begin the year, but Chuck, here as of late, the 5 games they're a game below.
Can't walk guys. You just can't walk them. I don't care what level you're playing. You can't walk guys. You do, it's going to come back and bite you. And they walk guys that set up situations last night, and then they walk guys after they'd already gotten into those situations. And you just can't walk 11 guys. I don't know what else to say. And you look at it from an offensive standpoint, what they didn't do is advance runners. If you go back and you break down the numbers of the game, Arkansas had a lot of opportunities to advance runners, and Lipscomb was significantly better in that area. You look at runners at third base with less than 2 out. Lipscomb's 5 of 7 in getting those guys home. Arkansas was 0 for 2. I'm talking about batting in those situations. So, you got to advance them to get them there, and Arkansas didn't do a very good job. They only had 2 chances. Lipscomb did a better job. Arkansas walked guys in critical moments. Just a disappointing night. Dave said it was perhaps one of their worst games of the year, and I wouldn't argue.
Yeah, and there's still a lot to play for with Mississippi State, South Carolina, Vanderbilt. I don't think they're out or in regards to a top 8 national seed.
No.
You'd have liked to have that win last night to maybe surge towards 40 wins. I think that's going to be very difficult with the 9 games you've got left. But I think everything you were playing for going into last night still on the table. It just puts a little more urgency on this weekend's road games in Starkville.
Well, let's remember too that 40-game number also includes the conference tournament. So when they start putting everybody's records up there on Selection Sunday, if they're in the 40s, they probably won a game or 2 at the conference tournament. So I guess they could still get there. Midweek games do matter, and I'm not saying that they, are the end-all, be-all. They're not. But, you can't walk 11 guys. You just can't. And when you do, you can't boot it around, make bad throws. If you're going to walk 11 guys, you better score more than 6 runs because there's a pretty good chance that's not going to be enough. So, again, just a disappointing night, and it had been nice if they played better. Not that anyone is entitled to watching the Razorbacks win when they buy a ticket, but they sell that game out on the day the tickets go on sale, and it would have been nice if they'd have been able to go home a little happier.
Hey, brought to you this morning by Riley Farm Dental. They are at the entrance to Riley Farms. They provide every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family. General dentistry, braces, implants, cosmetics. They got a great staff. Doctors Sparkman, Nanda, and Farmer take care of their patients, making you feel like you got a better smile, more confident, and you're comfortable when you visit the dentist. It's all at Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farm. Call 226-3500 or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
When we come back, we'll tell you what happened with Quincy McAdoo earlier this week.
Arkansas's home for the best sports talk.
I made a pizza with pork rinds and sour cream.
You're listening to The Morning Rush.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sacalé, paper mouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
Rockwell and Orwell are both known for their work from 1984. It's no conspiracy that somebody's watching me, because the terms and agreements that no one reads is the reason there's no privacy. Big tech is tracking every move you make and is starting to control society and how you participate. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and Revelation 13 describes a mark for those who fall for this utopian dream. I'm Pastor E from Woodland. Read about it.
BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your basketball info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest player reports for this year's pro basketball playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters this season, as we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. Basketball, MLB, NHL hockey, right down to UFC and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games you can play right from your home. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BLEAV. BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts. When you stay overnight, you want the accommodations to feel comfortable and feel like home. Well, at Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels, you get exactly that. You can check out all their locations at bphotels.com. They have locations in Fayetteville, Bentonville, Little Rock, Jonesboro, Conway, El Dorado, Arkadelphia, North Little Rock, Bryant, Hot Springs, Ardmore, Oklahoma, and coming soon to Kansas City. bphotels.com. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels, looking forward to serving you in 2023.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Traps, life jackets, and rod and reel repair. Find all the top brands and everything you need at Make-A-Wait Bait and Tackle. 1 mile east of I-540 on Highway 64. Make-A-Wait Bait and Tackle.
Happy times are almost here for Booneville. That amazing fast internet from Wave Rural Connect is coming soon. Arkansas Valley Electric members on feeders 1, 3, 5, and 8 will be available to sign up May 8th. These are internet speeds normally reserved for big cities, but available in the Booneville area, along with TV and phone service from a local provider. Pre-register online at signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
The spring allergy and hay fever seasons are here, and Law's Drugstore has what you need to safely take care of you and your family. Law's Drugstore can fill and refill your prescriptions, and they have all of the over-the-counter allergy remedies to provide comfort. Call 452-6116 and ask about vaccine shot appointment for shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and whooping cough. Law's Drugstore, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind the Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drugstore, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Was your roof damaged by
recent storms, don't fall victim to out-of-town contractors and fly-by-night repairmen. Trust the local roofing professionals at Able Roofing. Call their local number, 474-0006, for a free roof inspection. Never trust something as important as the roofing system on your home to a storm chaser. Able Roofing, 474-0006, will work with your insurance company. Call now for your free roof inspection, 474-0006. Able Roofing, the hometown roofers.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game.
ESPN 95.3.
Y'all ready for this? You're listening to The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
Look at the Razorbacks in terms of the difference in playing at home and on the road. Nothing's guaranteed. Arkansas's got a sub-500 road record, and you look at some of the teams in our league, and they're better than that. Now, the good part is when you get to the postseason, unless you're in a super regional at somebody else's place, you're probably going to be playing at home. But Arkansas does need to improve their road record.
Want to update you on the recent happenings of Quincy McAdoo earlier this week. He was involved in an automobile accident. We'll give you the latest on that coming up.
Hey, if you're involved in a divorce or custody case and you want an attorney that you can trust to guide you through the process, the staff of the attorneys at the Hickey and Hull Law Partners have seen about every scenario you can imagine, and they can apply their 7 decades of combined experience to represent you and make sure you get the best possible outcome. Kevin Hickey and Brad Hull have seen it all, dealt with it all, and they're ready to fight for you. Visit them online at kevinhickeylaw.com or call 479-434-2414 to schedule your consultation. That's the Hickey and Hull Law Partners. Things are about to get better. That's kevinhickeylaw.com or call 479-434-2414.
Quincy was involved in an automobile accident earlier this week. He got transported to the Washington Regional Hospital where he was treated with non-life-threatening injuries. He's in stable condition and recovering, and now just focusing on recovery. Guys, this is not the news I expected to share with our audience this week, but that statement was put out yesterday in regards to what many believe was going to be, and I don't know at this point, Arkansas starting quarterback because we don't know the status.
Well, he sounds like he's going to be okay. That's the main thing. I mean, I think he'll be fine. Moving forward. I don't know the football. His availability for that's even a concern right now. He's going to be okay. Now, bigger picture. I mean, first off, when you got 100-something guys on your teams, I wonder we're not hearing about this all the time.
It's true.
And I'll just go back to what I said earlier. I mean, anytime you're involved in an accident on an interstate at the rate of speed that we all travel on the interstate, and you're okay when it's over, you're very fortunate.
Yeah. Pay attention. This happened around Chester, somewhere just north of Chester. Pay attention as you drive through a lot of 49, and you think about, man, if I had an accident, where could you bail out? Medians are tree-covered or like major rocks where they blasted out the bedrock to put the roadway through there 30 years ago, 25 years ago, late 90s. You look at the ravines. It's a wonder everybody walked away from this and that a hospital stay for Quincy was the worst thing of all the folks involved because you just drive up and down that road, and, man, from Alma to the tunnel, there's not a lot of good places to be leaving the roadway at any speed, much less 75 or 80 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
amazing.
And it's I don't know the circumstances. I don't know anything other than he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line for me.
Yeah, that is the important thing. Well, to change the subjects on you a little bit, had NBA action, 2 really good conference semifinal games last night. Chuck's New York Knicks got it done 111-105 against the Miami Heat. A Jimmy Butler-less Miami Heat last night. Chuck, were you happy to see the Knicks pull it off last night?
My biggest challenge in this day and age, Ty, is staying awake for all of it. So I was able to do that last night. The baseball game helped me along. And, it was nice to see them win. I don't know how many Knicks fans are out there, but I'm one of the few.
Jalen Brunson.
he played great. Jalen Brunson did play great. You're right. And for New York to win the game was a big win.
They showed Jessica Alba on the Jumbotron, and he scored 23 points right after that. Not saying there is a coincidence or a combination of the two, but
that's because she had been to an Arkansas game this year.
I know.
Yeah.
She's her two favorite sports teams, the Arkansas Razorback basketball team and the New York Knicks. But getting a chance, and again, Madison Square Garden was the home of the Sweet 16 site this year. I've been once. It's the basketball mecca. There's nothing like it. And when the Knicks are good, it's good for the NBA. And it's not the 90s rivalry that you had between the Heat and the Knicks, but it's still fun when they bring back the Ewings, the Johnsons, the Mornings, Jeff Van Gundy holding on to, I can't remember who the player was.
Alonzo Mourning.
Just stuff like that. I love watching those old clips from back in the day.
Well, it's the most prominent sports venue on the face of the earth. When you think about Madison Square Garden. And it does certainly come alive when the Knicks are good. And that's a big win for them last night. But what about the Lakers, guys? I mean, what about the Lakers? I mean, they were written off for dead. LeBron's too old. And they win game 1 at Golden State last night. Mm-hmm. So, the Lakers are I can remember reading, we were talking about betting earlier. I don't pretend to understand how all this works, but I know, at least I read, that what the Vegas guys feared most was a Lakers run because people could kind of feel it coming. And a lot of people evidently were betting on the Lakers to make a run. And it seems like the Lakers are making a run. Mm-hmm. So, those are a couple of franchises that you're right. When they're good, the league's better.
Yeah. As a Thunder fan, it's hard for me to like the Lakers, but I do love watching Austin Reeves. As an Arkansas guy, that connection there, while he's not a Razorback, seeing that. Anthony Davis went off last night. It was really the Anthony Davis, Stephen Curry show, not the LeBron James, Stephen. That's a fun conference semifinals as well.
All right, it'd be fun to follow that moving forward. Hey, one thing, I got settled in for the game last night, and went and got some Art's barbecue. Family wanted to get a meal from Art's. One of them wanted a burger, one of them wanted catfish. I got the chef salad. Daughter got the chicken strips. And guess what? I ate this salad, and she didn't want them chicken strips any longer because it had all that smoked turkey and ham and everything that they put on that chef salad. It was plenty to feed both of us, but kind of neat to see a kid, hey, give me that salad. I want to dive into that. But if you're looking for a great salad, maybe to eat a little bit lighter, they got a great selection at Art's. Their chef salad, then they take their smoked chicken or any of the smoked meats and put on top of it to make you a large and delicious salad at Art's. Today, being Wednesday, they always celebrate the middle of the week with a jumbo sliced pork sandwich. They do it on Texas toast. Get the side you want to go with it. I'd recommend those hand-cut fries. It's just $9.99 today at Art's Barbecue. Rogers Avenue next to Buddy's at 8203 Rogers, or call 452-2550. They'll have it ready when you get there.
When we come back, we'll get into our SEC update. Another Arkansas softball player gets an award.
Arkansas's home for the best sports talk.
This is former Arkansas football coach Ken Hatfield, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
Joe Klein here for Bet Saracen, Arkansas's favorite sports betting app.
You bet it is, Joe, which means Bet Saracen has everything you're looking for and more right there on your cell phone.
Now everyone can get in the game and follow your favorite team.
And that's right on the money. If putting down a little wager makes your favorite game a little more exciting, we'll go to the app stores and download Bet Saracen. We even got a demo video to show you how to play.
Or find it at betsaracen.com.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
It's the spring sale event at WT Equipment. Save up to $350 on Hustler Turf Raptor Series mowers and up to $750 on select Toro Zero Turn mowers. WT Equipment is one of the largest Hustler dealers in the country with a huge selection in stock. Buy what the pros buy, where the pros buy. Save big or get 0% for 48 months on participating equipment with approved credit. Whether you are upgrading your fleet or looking for the best cut on the cul-de-sac, don't miss the spring sale event at WT Equipment. For more information, visit your local WT dealer or online at WTpromos.com.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
The Golf Nut has everything you need to make 2023 the best year ever. In stock now, Callaway Paradigm Woods and Irons along with Cobra Aerojet Woods and Irons. Demos are available. Schedule a fitting today. The new Titleist Pro V1s are here. Golf lessons are available. Call the shop and book a time or just play a round of golf on one of the many courses like Pebble Beach or Bethpage Black. Stop by the Golf Nut today, 5121 Towson Avenue in Fort Smith. Your #1 golf shop since 1994.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind everyone to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I'd also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the homestead tax credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify.
The homestead tax credit can save you up to $375 off your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by the Sebastian County Assessor.
If you are involved in a divorce or custody case, you want an attorney you can trust to guide you through the process. The attorneys at Hickey and Hole Law Partners have over 7 decades of combined experience. Hickey and Hole have seen and heard nearly every scenario you can imagine, ready to put that experience to work for you to get the best results. Visit KevinHickeyLaw.com or give them a call today, 479-434-2414. Hickey and Hole Law Partners. Things are about to get better.
Greenwood Collision is ready to serve as everyone assesses the damage from the recent storms. They will gladly work with all insurance companies and make the process of getting your vehicle back to new as painless as possible. Greenwood Collision is direct repair for most insurance companies and provides a lifetime warranty on all work. Let them do all the work for you. Call Chris or Joe today at Greenwood Collision at 996-9922 or stop by their location at 2615 West Center Street in Greenwood.
Tired of constant computer issues at work? And who knows what the real problem is? Is it the router? No, it's the hardware. Wait, they said it was the software. Call Hashtag Managed IT Services. Their multifaceted approach to IT support guarantees that everything is working at optimum performance. And Hashtag prevents the small problems from becoming big issues. Hashtag Managed IT Services in Van Buren. 479-802-4978. That's 479-802-4978. Hashtag Technology without the headache.
What makes a meal magical? Maybe it's coming home to smiling faces and the aroma of the grill. Maybe magic is the moment you finally get the secret ingredient to Mom's signature mac and cheese. Who knows, magic might just be as simple as meeting up with a friend to share a number 2 with fries and extra ketchup. One thing's for certain, magic shouldn't be hard because it's everywhere. All it takes is mixing the right ingredients, good company, great food, and ice-cold Coca-Cola. And then, voila! You'll have a recipe for magic.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment? Not having enough home time? Feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit PatriotTransport.com to apply. That's PatriotTransport.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Somebody said we've got SEC bias. Deal with it. They're the best.
In the SEC, it just means more.
I know one thing. The SEC just got a little tougher.
This is your SEC update on the Morning Rush.
Brought up a little bit earlier that Arkansas had some really good softball numbers on Sunday. Over 200,000 viewers on ESPN2 between the Razorbacks and the Volunteers. And one of the reasons that you have had these high numbers was the growing interest in the softball team. And it's because of players like Hannah Kamazin, who just got her 3rd SEC Freshman of the Week in 5 weeks. Rylan Hedgecock leads the SEC in home runs, and you also have one of the best closers in the country in Shanice Dels. This is just, it's pretty crazy, Tommy. 3 SEC Freshmen of the Weeks in 5 weeks, basically.
Well, winning will do those kind of things for you, and winning when it matters in front of a top 3 team or against a top 3 team on a national platform. It's amazing when you get to the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City, and those games are put on network television. Some of those games will be on ABC. Many of them will be on ESPN. The numbers they will draw then, compared to NBA games and compared to, will outpace Major League Baseball, and not just, a regular season game, some of their bigger moments. So it is amazing how much interest it gets, particularly when you get that sport on a national platform. So not surprising at all to see Arkansas and Tennessee 3 versus 12 do very well with the overnight TV ratings.
You still got a chance to request tickets for the regional and super regional, assuming they get that right to play postseason baseball in Bogle Park. You can do that by this Friday, May the 5th. So, again, postseason baseball tickets, I think, still up for grab in certain places. I thought about this question when I was watching the NFL draft this weekend about the trend of SEC quarterbacks being drafted. There was a thought at one time that you were not helping yourself as a prominent high school quarterback by going to the Southeastern Conference because not as many guys were drafted. Well, you had 2 first-rounders, one being Bryce Young, who went number 1 overall. Anthony Richardson goes 4 to the Indianapolis Colts. Stetson Bennett gets drafted. Will Levis, Hendon Hooker. Has that trend gone by the wayside, you think, that SEC quarterbacks that don't always pan out in the National Football League or don't necessarily have the best success in college because of the defense that you see on a consistent basis?
Well, I think it runs in cycles. It runs in spurts. It's just really about who in the South and where they go. I mean, the Big 12 had a really good run where they seemed to have either all the quarterbacks go there or they transferred to particularly Oklahoma. So I think it runs in cycles. People like front runners, and I don't think we've seen the full effect of what NIL is going to do. A lot of these top shelf quarterbacks that come out as 5 stars. They start making up their minds in 10th, 11th grade about where they're going, and a lot of that's going to be based in the future on the kind of NIL deals that are available. Trust me, their intermediaries, their family, they'll have a pretty good idea. So, I think the SEC is going to have more ability to compete for that. So I suspect the SEC is going to be the front runner in that category more likely than not.
You talk about quarterbacks. KJ Jefferson on Pro Football Focus when it comes to returning quarterbacks in the country is rated 4th in his QBR, his highest rated rankings. He posted a 90.8 last year. So when it comes to grading out, he was in the top 5 of the returning quarterbacks this year. Other SEC QBs on this list only include Jaden Daniels. So Daniels and Jefferson, 2 guys, they'll have quite an impact, and they'll see each other early this year. That's Arkansas's, if I remember that right, that's their first SEC game, he says, right? Baton Rouge, A&M, Oxford, Tuscaloosa.
LSU is the first SEC
right?
game, yeah.
Okay.
LSU, A&M, right? Oxford, Tuscaloosa.
Okay. That's what I
then
thought.
Home for Mississippi State, travel to Florida, Auburn, non-con with FIU, and then Missouri.
Yeah.
So, of course, Western Carolina, Kent State, BYU to open the year.
Mm-hmm. In Little Rock. Another game in Little Rock you want to talk about. Hey, I know you love these. Last thing here in your SEC update. So you had 5 SEC teams check in the way too early top 25 for basketball, including Arkansas, who is at 10. Again, I know how much you love these polls, these preseason poll, talking about basketball in the month of May. May the 3rd, we're already talking about projections, but we'll see what happens with Arkansas basketball in the coming weeks.
Hope they're right.
Yeah. We'll see
Hope they're right.
Recruiting. Hopefully we get some more good recruiting news at some point this week or in the next couple weeks.
All right, that's your SEC update. It's brought to you by World of Wireless. They offer a variety of home services now, not just dish, but high-speed internet, and now vacuum cleaner repair, in addition to home automation and other things they can do to make your home run more efficiently. If you have a central vac system that hasn't ran in years, or you're building a new home and you would like a new central vac system installed, or you're a home builder and you don't know who to call in the River Valley area or Eastern Oklahoma, Western Arkansas to get central vac done, call World of Wireless. They now do all of those things. They recently purchased Fort Smith Vacuum, and it's now part of their business. They repair all kinds of vacuums, but also install, service, and repair central vac systems as well. Right at the light next door to Frank Rowe Furniture in Barling, or call 877-305-3474.
All right, let's wrap up today's show. Arkansas falls 8-6 to the Lipscomb Bison in North Little Rock last night. Dave Van Horn asked about the starting rotation this weekend, said something interesting about Hunter Holland maybe getting an extra day's rest.
I don't know yet, but there's a chance we may move him to Saturday or Sunday.
There's a chance that you move what's been your Friday night starter to Saturday or Sunday. Now, Brady Tyggart's back. Hagen Smith, I don't know what he's thinking heading into this weekend, but there could be a change in the pitching rotation starting Friday night in Starkville.
Well, and I don't know if last night changes any of that. Obviously, that was following the game. He's pretty close to the vest on what he's going to do, and recently just been naming Friday night and then TBA for Saturday and Sunday. So I would imagine they've already got a pretty good plan. They'll finalize that today, but you need to, Chuck's been talking about the road record. That's the one glaring hole in the resume. You'd like to go down and get a couple of road wins this weekend to at least fix that, and because Vanderbilt's going to be a tougher road, but you'd like to have a few road wins to add to the list of things you've done this year.
Yeah, and it would be nice to at least get 2 of the 3 this weekend. Starkville, again, it's going to be a hostile environment. You're going to be a top 10 team heading in there this weekend, so you cannot overestimate the Bulldogs. Saw what happened against Georgia. I'm not saying they did that, but I think we overestimated walking into Georgia. Unfortunately, they got 3 games from you down there in Athens. One Razorback Roadshow has been announced starting May the 15th. Hunter Yurchek, Sam Pittman, Eric Musselman, Mike Neighbors, and more coaches on that campus will be traveling to various places across the state. I still think the coolest thing is the terrace they're going to be in Memphis for that West Memphis Razorback Club. I mean, they're going to be in Wynn, which they're also doing also a tornado relief help down there, which I thought was cool. Little Rock, Harrison are some of the cool places they'll be exploring. There's 8 total. There'll be evenings and then lunches as well. So they're doing kind of combinations in various portions throughout the state of Arkansas.
It's good to get them out. I wish we still had more Razorback Club activity and the coaches going around. I know the transfer portal and the activities that have really become added to the calendar for coaches, limit some of that. But even before all that became about, this one Razorback Club's kind of been the way that Hunter Yurchek wanted to take the interaction with the fans. I've always thought it was a great place for Razorback fans to gather in these 20 or so Razorback clubs that were around the state that would raise money. I hate to just see those go by the wayside in most cases, because that's exactly what's kind of happened over the last 4 or 5 years.
You think you have a memory that stands out of any of the ones you went to the most? You were talking about what, a Grand was in Harrison, or was that Chuck that was saying that?
Well, I mean, there would be lots of people show up. I remember the night that in Fort Smith I was asked to MC the banquet. It was the first time Brett Bielema had been there. They were honoring Tyler Wilson that night with an award after he had just completed his Razorback, the Chisholm Reed Award, that night. And, there was close to 1,000 people that had packed the convention center to hear Brett Bielema. And this was, coming out of the Bobby Petrino era, and everybody knew that we go back. And he said that was a neat experience for that. Been to a lot of golf tournaments. I've been to a lot of these different ones, and been fortunate to be involved in several of them. And it's always a great time. It's always fun to see the fans. They'd always have the coaches set up at a table, and just to watch people and the way they interacted with the coaches and the players and the things over the years was, you could tell was special for them. I hate to see those go away.
There's great sections of Razorback fans throughout the state. It's not just here in Northwest Arkansas or in Central Arkansas where the capital city is. And I really appreciate the fans in Northeast Arkansas, because they try to get Red Wolves shoved down their throat, and they still have a passion for the Arkansas Razorbacks. So, again, these events have been fun over years, and there's 8 locations that they'll be traveling for the Razorback Roadshow. Did get some bad news on the football front. Varkey's Gums decommitted, tight end commit from North Texas. Looks like he's going decommitted in this point. Told 24/7 Sports that yesterday. Has an official visit to Cal this weekend, so don't know what's going to happen there. I would guess if he does not recommit to Arkansas, which I don't know if that's a good possibility or not, they'll probably still get a tight end out of the portal at some point.
Yeah, so don't know much about this and why it is the way it is, but I know we all get a little hypersensitive to the word decommitment anytime it comes up and our team's involved. So.
Grant Nelson is a guy that a lot of college basketball fans know the name of. The North Dakota State star just entered the transfer portal. Arkansas fans, of course, now want him. Don't know if there's going to be a connection. Eric Musselman did have some positive things to say about when they played North Dakota State. I can't remember if it was last year or this year, but anytime that Muss says something about someone, people, again, latch onto it like it's the word of you-know-what, and so we'll have to wait and see where he's, again, him, Hunter Dickinson are two of the biggest players in the portal right now. Dickinson still hadn't decided his destination. We'll see what Nelson decides to do with his future in college basketball.
All right, I guess we got some NBA tonight. 76ers at the Celtics. I think that's the only game on the schedule. I'm looking here on the Bet Saracen app, and they've already got a bunch of specials that are up right now at Bet Saracen. Celtics to lose first quarter and win the match, plus 350. Which way would you go?
Lose the quarter and win the match? Yeah, I think Philly just came out hot at game one. They got the better Boston, but I think Boston ultimately wins at home tonight.
Al Horford, Robert Williams, and P.J. Tucker over 5.5 rebounds each, plus 425.
Yeah, Al and Robert are both Celtics big men playing power forward and center. PJ's a little smaller small forward, but he rebounds. He gets in there. So I would say I'd take the over on that.
Jason Tatum and James Harden over 29.5 points each. That's plus 800. Got some odds.
James looked vintage James Harden in this last game. Jason Tatum, I think, always has an opportunity to go off for 30+. So I'd take the over on that, even though the odds are stacked against me. I'd still take the over on it.
All right, Celtics minus 10 tonight. Over-unders 216.5. You can get all the action on the Bet Saracen app. Download it at betsaracen.com or in the Apple App Store. Get that neat video to figure out all the in-game stuff and more. That's betsaracen.com.
It's been a good What's Your Beef Wednesday. We appreciate everyone joining us today. If you missed any of our conversation with Chuck, find it in the Bud Light Morning Rush podcast. Just search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts and also on hitthatline.com. For Chuck Barrett, Christian Johnston, Tommy Kraft, I'm Ty Richardson. Enjoy your Wednesday. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 6 a.m.
Weight loss game changer. That's what the medical community is saying about the latest FDA-approved weight loss medication.